Hi guys, it's me, HD, and welcome to the final race of 2018, the 2018 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. And again, for the final time in 2018, we have a race day. Hopefully you guys are doing well after yesterday's qualifying. No matter if you're from the Americas, Africa, Asia, Europe, the UK, Australia, anywhere in the world, no matter where you're from, hopefully you're all doing well. And hopefully we're looking forward to this Grand Prix. I think we are going to get, for sure, a better race this year than we did last year at this same track. I think we definitely will, because I think we're going to have a good fight for the victory today. But guys, if somehow you did miss out on what happened in qualifying yesterday, then let me now take you through those results. Oh, they don't seem to have appeared. Hold on. Let me just... what have I done with them? I think I've made a mistake here. Hold on. Where are they? I don't know what's gone on there. For some reason, they're not appearing. Hold on a minute. Okay, well, they're not going to appear then. But your results in qualifying were Lewis Hamilton on pole, Valtteri Bottas in second. In third place was Sebastian Vettel. Fourth, Kimi Raikkonen. Fifth, Daniel Ricciardo. Sixth, Max Verstappen. Seventh is Romain Grosjean. Eighth is Charles Leclerc. Ninth is Esteban Ocon. And then in 10th is Hulkenberg. And then, if I remember correctly, is then Sainz, Ericsson, Magnussen, Perez, Alonso, Hartley, Gasly, Van Dorn, Sorokin, and Lance Stroll. Let me just... Hold on a minute. Let me just redo this so it actually works. So there you go. Finally, the results. I have a USB stick that normally should be working, but it's been a bit faulty today. But there you go. There is the top 10, as I just said. And there is your bottom 10. So that is the grid for this race. Apologies about that. Normally that doesn't happen, but there you go. But as ever, in the build up to this race, let's go to the top 3 teams and see and preview how we think they're going to do. First off is Mercedes. And, well, yesterday was a perfect qualifying. I didn't think they would be that fast. I thought they would be quick when it came to getting pole position, but I didn't think they would be, at the end of Q3, so dominant, really. And that's what they were at the end of Q3. They were dominant in getting that front row. But can they do it for today's race? Overnight, I've kind of had a bit of a change of heart, because I know in my qualifying review, which, by the way, if you've not checked out, is in the description down below, I kind of said that I don't think they're going to be massively quick, but because they have these rear wheel spaces and this new wheel rim they've had on the car, or that they had on the car from Spa until the US Grand Prix, and then they had to take it off because they thought Ferrari were going to protest. I think Mercedes are going to be very good in this race compared to the last couple where they've struggled with tyre wear. So I think Mercedes are in good shape. I think if someone beats them today, they're going to have either a great race, one of the best drives of the season, or their race pace, you know, with the car they have, is going to have to be just incredible. Because I don't see, honestly, how Mercedes won't win this race. If it was Hamilton from Vettel, then maybe Ferrari could do something. But with a front row for Mercedes and such a short run to turn 1, I don't see how they won't win. But again, we'll see in the Grand Prix. Next up is Ferrari. And again, I think disappointing from Ferrari yesterday in qualifying. I think they should have been at least on the front row if they don't get pole position, which they didn't, of course. But yeah, third and fourth, that's not where I think Ferrari wanted to start, or where they thought they would start coming into qualifying, but that's where they are going to start this race. What can they do from third and fourth? I don't know what they can do. I don't think they will be slow, but I don't think they'll have enough pace to win the Grand Prix. I just don't. I don't see how Ferrari are going to have the pace. They didn't in Brazil when they were on a... Yes, the soft tyre didn't work that well at the start, but it was still... Even when they went on to the right tyres later on in the race, Ferrari just weren't quick. And it just seems as though, as of late, after Ferrari do have a disappointing qualifying, they then go on to have a kind of a disappointing race, and I think that's going to happen again. I don't see Ferrari winning this race. I think they'll have good pace. I think all of the top 3 teams will have good pace today, but I just don't think Ferrari will have enough pace to win the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. And next up is Red Bull, and this for me is the most interesting team for this Grand Prix, because Daniel Ricciardo first out qualifying Max Verstappen. That's a great performance by Daniel Ricciardo in his final race for Red Bull. Now, what's interesting is they didn't intend to do this, but Red Bull have split their strategies. So Daniel Ricciardo will start the race on the ultra soft tyre, just like the 2 Ferraris and the 2 Mercedes, and Max Verstappen in 6th will start the race on the hyper soft tyre. Now, Verstappen should be like a house on fire at the start for the first, 10 laps. He should be. If he's not, I'd be surprised, because I mean, we saw in Brazil on the fastest tyre, Max Verstappen was just insanely quick. Even on a tyre that we didn't think was going to be that good for the race, he was so good. So I think Red Bull for sure are, I guess, the team to watch in this race. I don't know, but I really think that we are going to see something quite special from one of the Red Bull guys. I really think we will. They are strong contenders for the podium. I'm not sure they're going to win the race, because I think there's too much work to do from where they are on the grid, and it's quite hard to pass here compared to Interlagos. But a podium is possible, no doubt about it. A podium is 100% possible. But guys, what do you think about those top 3 teams for Mercedes? Do you think, like me, that the chances of them not winning this race is quite small? For Ferrari, do you think they'll actually, show up and win the Grand Prix, or do you think they'll disappoint once again? And for Red Bull, do you think they can replicate what they did pace-wise in Brazil? Do you think they will have the fastest car today? And do you think they will go for the race win? And will Max Verstappen get revenge for Brazil? Make sure to put your comments in the live chat, and I'll read out as many as I possibly can. Right, let me now take a look. Great to see you all here, as always. Right, let's take a look at some of your comments. So, John Huebner, if Bottas remains second at the start, be prepared for a parade with Bottas as the Grand Marshal holding everyone back. I wouldn't be surprised if he did something similar to what he did in Brazil. I wouldn't be surprised. If you didn't watch Brazil, then, well, you missed out on a great race. But he basically held up so many cars in that race. He held up Verstappen. Verstappen eventually got past. He held up the 2 Ferraris for so long in that Grand Prix. And Daniel Ricciardo. And it took Ricciardo a long time to eventually get past. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Bottas kind of has to do the same thing. And by the way as well, if Mercedes are very quick in this race and they do pull away from the rest of the field, I do think Bottas will win this race, because I think Hamilton will give Bottas the win. But only if they have a clear 1-2 and there's no threat behind at the end of the race. Then I think Hamilton will let Valtteri take the win. And he should, because even though Lewis didn't necessarily need Valtteri to let him through in Russia, it did help. So I think Lewis should return the favour. Sen, Red Bull has more chance of winning than Ferrari. Yeah, I agree. I think Ferrari have, out of the top three teams, the least chance of winning the race. They do have a chance for sure, there's no doubt about it, but Ferrari is just so disappointing. I can't trust them to actually go out there and have a good race. I can't trust them to do so. Great to see Niblo in the chat as always. Ricardo Mega Racing coming. Undercut should be quite powerful. That should help Max Verstappen if he does pit before the ultra soft runners, which he probably will. John Hubert, if Bottas takes a gimme win, he is spineless. Falling out EMS, Daniel Ricciardo and Max Verstappen have to make up places on lap 1 and then do the Mercedes overtakes in the pits. I think Ricciardo, because it's his last race at Red Bull, and also because the Red Bull car should be the quickest, I think Ricciardo is going to be the most aggressive he's ever really been in his career. I think he's going to be going for overtakes everywhere, and hopefully he does. Hello to Sebastian in the chat, who says, hi Chazza, Bottas will win from Hamilton and Max. I will get on to my predictions later, but again, if Mercedes have a clear 1-2, you know, with like 10 laps to go, I think Bottas will win the race because of Hamilton, I think, will let him through. And if he doesn't, then that's a bit selfish, considering what Valtteri did in Russia. But again, if they don't have a clear 1-2, then I don't think Valtteri will be allowed through, and I don't think we should expect that. But we'll have to see in this race. JB, prepare for lap 1 crashing involving Hartley. He said he'll be aggressive throughout this race. He is in 16th alongside, I think, Fernando Alonso. So hopefully he's not too aggressive. Of course, because it is Fernando's final race in F1. Most likely. Right, let me just look through some more comments. Nick says, Raikkonen needs to finish 5th to be safe. I think you're talking about finishing 3rd in the Drivers' Championship, aren't you? I think. Falling Out EMS also says, Red Bull put on a great show. Francisco, sadly I'm not going to be able to watch the race live. No problem, I'll be able to cover it for you here and update you as to what's going on. As McLaren are now giving Fernando a guard of honour going into his garage. Quite interesting that they're giving Fernando a guard of honour, considering that he tried to blackmail the team and was involved in some very wrong things in 2007 with McLaren. But there you go. Will F1, people are overrating Hamilton as all he has to do is beat Bottas when the Mercedes is dominant. If he had a teammate like Alonso, Vettel, Verstappen or Leclerc, then his performance is not overrated. I understand your point, but Hamilton has not had the best car this season. There has been races where he has had the best car, but he, over the course of the 21 races, has not had the best car. So that's why people are saying that Lewis has had such a great season, because Ferrari have, not dominantly, but have, over the course of the 21 races, Ferrari have had the best car. Niblo, F1 just won't be the same without Alonso. Yeah, I agree. It is sad to see him go. I was praying that McLaren would eventually get it right, but McLaren are just never going to get it right, it seems. And this is all that Fernando can do now. Hello to Jason Miller, who's just joined the watch-along. Great to see you. Right, let me just look at a couple more comments and then I will move on to the midfield. Will F1, if Hamilton gets a podium, he will beat Vettel's points record from 2013, but Vettel had 19 races and had 397, And after 19, Hamilton had 358. That is true, but I think Hamilton's is more impressive, again, considering that he hasn't had the fastest car for the majority of the season. Vettel did, not for the entire season, but for 3/4 of the season, Vettel in 2013 had the best car. So I think Hamilton's is a bit more impressive than Vettel's. Will F1 Ferrari have had a McLaren 2012 season? Yep, that is true. That is true. Fastest car, not clearly the fastest car, but over the course of the season, fastest car, but just cannot get it right. Very reminiscent of what McLaren were like in 2012, that is right. But, Warren M, Prost, then Senna, then Schumacher, then Alonso, then Hamilton and Vettel now, with Charles and Max coming, yep. And after Charles and Max, I'm sure we have plenty of greats coming after that. But let's move on from the top teams and now preview the midfield, starting off with McLaren. Now, in terms of the pace of the car and where they are, it doesn't really matter. They aren't looking good at all. They have probably the second slowest car this weekend, only just faster than Williams. But this race is all about Fernando Alonso in what is most likely going to be his final race in F1. He starts the race in 15th. I think he'll be starting the race on the harder compound tyre, the Ultra Soft, and maybe he can do something with that. But realistically, I don't see Fernando Alonso scoring points. It's not impossible. There is a small possibility, but I don't see it happening. But for me, even if he doesn't score points, as long as in this race he has moments where he shows us why he is one of the most talented drivers we've ever had in F1, as long as he shows us that, then that is enough for me. And yeah, I hope that Fernando has a good final outing for McLaren and in F1. Next up is Renault. Renault were looking good going into qualifying, but then in qualifying they kind of disappointed considering where they were in practice and finished up in P10 and P11. But that's pretty much about where I thought they would be for the race after qualifying. So I'd say for Renault, they are in a good starting position. Carlos Sainz, I think, does have a very good chance of points because he's the first driver, of course, that can choose whatever tyres he wants and start on a fresh set of those tyres for the race. So Sainz is in a good position. Hülkenberg, I think, will have a decent race. I think Renault will score points. I don't think they will with both cars, but I think they will score points as they're set to confirm 4th in the Constructors' Championship, and they do thoroughly deserve it. Next up, Force India. It was, well, good for one driver and bad for the other. In qualifying, Esteban Ocon was up in 9th place, but Sergio Perez was down in 14th. Now, I don't know if Perez was on the ultra soft tyres still, because in the first runs of Q2, both Force Indias tried, I think, to get into the top 10 on ultra soft tyres, but then it didn't work, and Ocon then went out on the Hypersoft and got into the top 10. I don't know if Perez was an ultra softs or not, so well, I'll have to look back after this race. But for Ocon, he should have a decent race. I don't know if he's going to score points because I think there are cars behind that could easily get past. But he should, pace-wise, be right in there for the points. Again, I don't know if he will get points, but we'll have to see. I think, though, Sergio Perez, I think he's going to be competitive. As we know, when it comes to the races, Perez is a lot more competitive when it comes to managing tyres in the race and just, you know, eking the tyres out and getting to the end of the race in one piece. So I think Perez has a good chance of... I think Perez honestly has a better chance of points than Ocon does for this Grand Prix. So, yeah, I think Sergio Perez definitely is going to be having a good race today. But guys, what do you think for those three teams? For McLaren, what do you think will happen with Fernando Alonso, and where do you think he will finish in his final race? For Renault, do you think they will score points with one of their cars? And for Force India, pretty much the same. Do you think they will score points with their cars and fend off Sauber in the Constructors for P7? Force India going into this race lead by 6 points, I think it is. So, important race here for Force India. Let me know what you guys think in the chat, and I will read out as many as I can. Right, let me take a look. Warren M. Nico's been on it this weekend. I wouldn't say on it, but better than he has been at other races. Definitely. Mighty Saviour, sad life. Ocon only has a reserve driver job. Yeah, that is sad, but at least he's going to be doing something for 2019 than watching racing. At least he's going to be actually, testing. And apparently, according to Toto Wolff, he will be taking part in pre-season testing for Mercedes. So, I think Ocon will have plenty to do in 2019. Warren M. Responding to Niblo there. Just looking at the chat to look at some more comments. Andrew Drury, a chicane, then a hairpin, then a long straight, then a chicane, then another long straight, then a chicane, then 7 90-degree corners. Welcome to Abu Dhabi. I will say this forever. I absolutely despise 90-degree corners. They just don't offer the opportunity for close racing. They don't at all. I hate them. I hate them so much. Right, I'm just looking at some more comments as I scroll up. John Huebner just finished the race, Alonso. Yeah, it'd be great to see that for once. Erson, Schumacher is greatest of all time. Only Lewis can beat him at the moment. Maybe Max in the future. Statistically, Michael is the best of all time, but I don't think Michael, driver-wise, is the greatest. I still say Ayrton Senna is the greatest driver of all time. And even Michael Schumacher came out and said, I think in 2010 or 2011, that Ayrton Senna is the greatest of all time. So if Michael says it, then I think it pretty much confirms that Ayrton is the GOAT. Only for the moment, though, because we have to see what Lewis Hamilton does over the next few seasons. If he does continue, in F1 for that long. Right, let me just scroll down. Francisco, best driver of all time is Fangio, no doubt. For me, Fangio is third in my list. I don't doubt his achievements. I think there are things that people kind of dismiss and they shouldn't dismiss, such as Fangio never really had teammates. He had teammates that would give his car, or give their car, sorry, to them. So, he basically never had a competitive teammate. And also, I don't think his era of drivers was, the absolute best we've ever seen. Definitely not as good as Senna's. Maybe better than Schumacher's, but yeah, Fangio's era wasn't the greatest of all time. Warren M, I think you'd want Senna for any single race. Schumacher for the season. Yeah, I'd probably want Schumacher for a whole season, yeah. Because, I mean, at Ferrari and at Benetton, once he got in a competitive enough car to win a championship, he was almost impossible to beat. You had to hope that you basically got lucky to beat him if he was in a competitive enough car to do so. And he even went for championships where he wasn't in a competitive enough car. So, yeah, I agree with that. Warren N, will the drier air at least help cars follow? I don't think it will. This track is just so bad for racing. I don't think that really matters. Hello to Ultraman Nexus. Ocon will be better than Bottas. I think Ocon is probably better than Bottas, but not by much. And by the way, I don't think Esteban Ocon is on an absolute amazing level. I think Ocon is good, but yeah, maybe I should have saved my thoughts for another day. Right, let me just look at a couple more, then I'll move on to the rest of the midfield. By the way, guys, if you are new to the channel and you're watching this for the first time, we're going to be doing this for every race weekend in 2019, so don't forget to subscribe. Either bottom right of the screen, you can do it there, or click on my channel name, go to my channel page and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Francisco and Fangio thought Jim Clark was the best. How about that? Well, Fangio, well, he did get to see Senna. I don't know what he said about Senna, but, you know, Jim Clark, also very, very good driver. One of the greats of all time, no doubt about it, but I wouldn't say, you know, absolutely one of, you know, the top 2 or 3. For me, the top 5 greatest of all time is Senna first, Schumacher second, Fangio third, Hamilton fourth. Might be controversial to say that, but I don't care. And in 5th, I would probably say Niki Lauda. And then after that, Clark, Prost, Stewart, Alonso, Vettel, Mansell, drivers like that. So yeah. But anyway, we'll move on from that and go on to the rest of our midfield. Williams, at least for Williams, this is the final race before they can, you know, bin this car. Because, wow, what a terrible car this has been for Williams. This has been their worst season ever, no doubt about it. And if they have hopefully they have a, you know, a calm, peaceful race where they don't have any dramatic accidents or something bad go for them. And hopefully 2019 is a lot better. But yeah, thankfully for Williams, this is the final race of this awful Williams car. Next up, Toro Rosso. Now, with Brendan Hartley, disappointing, down in 16th. But with Pierre Gasly, very unlucky, I think. Pierre Gasly coming around to the final corner on his final lap in Q1, was about to go into Q2, and then he had no power and ended up getting knocked out in 17th place. So Pierre Gasly definitely does have the pace to be maybe not in the points, but close to the points. And I think Pierre Gasly is definitely one to watch out for in this race. And hopefully they don't have any reliability issues. Next up is Haas. For Romain Grosjean, he has had one of the best weekends, maybe his best weekend of his 2018 so far, or, you know, his entire 2018. Very, very good weekend. In practice, he's been basically right there at the front of the midfield. And Romain came out and said after qualifying P7 that qualifying lap to get P7 was one of the best qualifying laps he's ever done. So definitely Romain has had a great weekend so far, and hopefully he does cap it off with a solid points finish. For K-Mag though, very disappointing yesterday. What can he do today? He has the car to get into the points, but I don't know necessarily if he has the pace to get into the points. We'll have to see. It's kind of 50-50 for me. But definitely Haas should be scoring points after what has been, even though they've missed out on 4th, and that is, you know, it's sad that they have missed out on 4th because they have had the best car in the midfield pace-wise. It has been a successful 2018 for sure. And finally is Sauber, who have also had a very successful 2018 and today can climb up from 8th to 7th in the Constructors. What they need is for Charles Leclerc to finish 7th or higher and for Marcus Ericsson to get into the points and for Force India to not score any points, and Sauber will finish P7 in the Constructors. So guys, if you thought, you know, for this race there was nothing to fight for, then you're wrong. There is plenty to fight for Sauber and Force India. And hopefully, Sauber do. If they don't finish 7th in the Constructors, then, you know, that's fine. But hopefully they do have a good final race to what has been a very good season. This time last year, they were nowhere near getting into the points. But now, they're right there towards the front of the midfield. Great progression. Great to see Sauber in this position. But guys, what do you think about those teams? For Williams, share your thoughts on them if you want to. I don't really care. For Toro Rosso, with Pierre Gasly, if he doesn't suffer reliability issues, do you think he has the pace to come from 17th to maybe get a surprise point? For Haas, can they get points with both cars? And what will K-Mag do? And do you think with Sauber they can take P7 in the Constructors? Put in the chat right now and I'll read out as many comments as I can for probably the next 5 minutes or so. Right, let me take a look. JB, K-Mag was fantastic. Finally, I actually pronounced it right. At the start of the season, he's been disappointing recently. I came up with this, I guess, theory, I think last night in my qualifying review, and I think it is true. I think K-Mag was performing well to earn himself a contract for 2019 at Haas, and then once he got the contract, now he doesn't have to perform for anything, so why should he be quick? He's got the seat he wanted, so there you go. Simon Cragland, Baku with Kimi, and... oh no, he's responding to someone else there. Simon Cragland says, Perez and K-Mag, the two most disappointing drivers yesterday. Yeah, that is true. That is true. Warren M will be interesting to see Grosjean's first couple laps on the Ultras. Expect him to really go for it and could move into the top 5. I don't think Grosjean is starting on Ultra Softs. I think he is starting on the Hypersoft tyres because I did see the FIA document, which always comes out after qualifying, saying which drivers start on which tyres, and I believe Grosjean is on Hypersoft. I think the only drivers in the top 10 on the Ultras are the top 5. So Hamilton, Bottas, Vettel, Raikkonen, and Daniel Ricciardo. Oh, he means Hypers. Okay. Well, let's watch out to see if he doesn't crash or anything, because we know he can do that as well. Urson, so is Max going to be on 2 stoppers? I don't think he will. It's going to be a 1-stop race. It's going to be interesting to see, though, with the drivers starting on Hypersoft tyres, how do they get around that tyre wear issue towards the end of their stint on the Hypersoft tyres? JB, I think Leclerc will beat Vettel next season. Let's leave that till next season. Louis asks, starting time. The race starts in 25 minutes. We are not far away from the final race of 2018. Great to see Eric here. Trojan has out-qualified, or no, says Grosjean. Don't think he meant to put that. Has out-qualified K-Mag for the year and has proven to me he is still better than K-Mag. When Roman is not making silly mistakes and is at his best, I think Roman is better than K-Mag. I think he does have more talent. But again, when he makes silly mistakes and has silly crashes, I think he really goes down in my estimations. And he has for this season, because the first half of the season he was making so many costly errors. But yeah, I think when Roman's at his best, I think Roman is better than K-Mag. and one of the best midfield drivers, in my opinion. Falling out EMS, well, Max could probably finish on the same set of hypers if he wanted. Yeah, Max, I don't know what it is with him. It's weird. For such an aggressive driver, you would think that he wouldn't be so good on his tyres, but he is. In Brazil, he took the super soft tyres, I think, longer than anyone else. Or one of the... I think Ricciardo might have took it longer, but he was up there. Rise, Verstappen won't be as fast near the end of the race because he starts in the hypers, which are fastest tyres, and will have to switch to slower tyres. This is the thing, though. I believe that the top 5, including Verstappen's teammate, will be going ultra soft to super soft, and Verstappen, because he's so good at managing the softer tyres, and so is the Red Bull car, I think Verstappen will go hypers to ultras in this race. So he'll be on slower tyres compared to what he's starting on, but compared to the other, top guys, he won't be on slower tyres, he'll be on faster tyres, and that's what is going to make for an interesting race, I think. But I think we'll move on from this team preview for this Grand Prix. Now go on, guys, to my one to watch in this race. Make sure to put your one to watch in the comments, and I'll read out as many as I possibly can. Hopefully this actually works. There you go, it does. Mine is Sergio Perez, who is starting in 14th. Now, Perez has always been very good at managing his tyres in a race and, just getting to the end of his stint and, extending his stint longer than other drivers. And I think if he does, and I think he will, start on the ultra soft tyres, because he's so good on his tyres, I think there is a chance he could end the race on hypersofts, and I wouldn't be surprised if he, flies through the field at the end of the Grand Prix, and he definitely has the pace, the race pace, to be better than 14th. There is no doubt about that. So definitely watch out for Sergio Perez. But guys, who are you going for your one to watch? Is it Perez? Is it Carlos Sainz, Fernando Alonso, K-Mag, Leclerc, Max Verstappen, Daniel Ricciardo, who else? Pierre Gasly. Who are you going for your one to watch? Let's have a look in the chat to see what you guys are saying. Hello to Ronan Brady. And Des Ericsson, I think, just said that, can you show the grid? I did kind of show the grid at the start. It's basically the same as the qualifying results. But I am planning something with that type of thing for next season. John Hubner, one to watch, Leclerc on podium, why not? He did. I think they said this on Sky F1 a moment ago before I came on. Apparently Charles Leclerc set a faster first sector than Lewis Hamilton in Q3. I think that's what they said. And if that is true, oh my god. Just imagine what he can do in a Ferrari. I cannot wait for 2019 if that is true. Wants to watch. There's some Botty Gamer, Max and Bottas. Rise says Max, Daniel or Alonso. Hopefully our predictions are better than Gasly yesterday. Yeah, me and you did go for Pierre Gasly and it went so bad. But we were unlucky with that prediction. Ronan Brady also says, but Mercedes were saving their tyres for Sector 3. Still though, that's still very impressive. Even if Mercedes are saving their tyres, they should not be slower than Leclerc in the first sector. Botty Gamer says, Bottas really needs to win this race. Yeah, he does. Nathan says Leclerc. Legion says Charles Leclerc. Okay, right, I think we will move on from that, as we have now 20 minutes to go until the final Grand Prix of 2018. Now, here we go. This is the race sets for all the drivers for this Grand Prix, and let's now go through them. So, and you know, this is very important to look at, guys, because this could be important to remember when it comes to the pit stops and who puts on what type of tyre. And the important thing for me that I noticed when I grabbed this from Twitter, look at Sebastian Vettel. He starts on the ultra soft tyre, but has one new set of hypersofts. If he can eke out that first stint on the ultra soft, he could end the race on the hypersoft and be very, very quick. So watch out for Vettel at the end of the race. You've got Ricciardo looking normal there. Ricciardo and Verstappen both have two new sets of super soft tyres, but I don't think they're going to use them. Just going through the field. So you see there, Carlos Sainz has a new set of each tyre, has two new sets of the hypersofts. Gasly has plenty of tyres to play with, and so do the McLarens. But definitely Sebastian Vettel is the one to watch when it comes to the tyres. Not necessarily for the race, but when it comes to the tyres, I think Vettel is the one to watch after looking at that. Because again, if he can eke out that ultra soft first stint, which is possible because as the race goes on, because it goes to night time, the temperature gets lower and that helps out the tyres, that could be enough for Vettel to put on the fastest compound for the end of this Grand Prix. And there is apparently a 1 second difference between the hyper soft and the ultra soft. So imagine how quick Vettel could go at the end of the race if, say, the two Mercedes are on super soft tyres. Definitely have to watch out for that. But we'll move on from that and go on to the best places to pass here at Yas Marina. Now, this track is not known for overtaking. If you watched last year's race, you'll know that very well. The first chance, of course, is down into turn 1 at the start. I think turn 1 is definitely the biggest opportunity, though, for a crash. It gets very tight on the entry and on the exit of the corner going up to turns 2 and turn 3. So hopefully no one has an accident going into that corner. And then you have the first chicane after the first long DRS straight. This is definitely, you know, a good chance for people to pass into. If you do get a run coming off the hairpin before the long straight, you can make a move into the chicane, but you can also make a mistake, as you can see there with the Toro Rosso. But then, after that chicane, you then have a second long DRS straight, which, you know, if you do get through that first chicane after the first DRS straight, if you get a good enough run, you can, if you've just been passed, use the DRS for yourself and get back past. So that is where the overtaking is going to happen at this race, are the first and the second DRS straights. Everywhere else, we're not going to see passing unless we get one of the craziest races of all time, which I don't think is going to happen. But those are your places to pass at Yas Marina. But guys, now I'm going to get on to my predictions for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix of 2018. Make sure after I finish mine to put your predictions in the chat, and I'll read out as many as I can up until lights out. So, in my opinion, winning this race will be world champion Lewis Hamilton. He was so good in qualifying, and because the Mercedes car, I think, is looking a lot better here than it was in Brazil and Mexico and the US Grand Prix, I think that Lewis Hamilton will win this Grand Prix because he has the pace. This is one of his best tracks on the calendar, and the Mercedes is working very, very well. So I'm going to have to go for Lewis Hamilton in first. In second, I'm going Valtteri Bottas in a Mercedes 1-2. The reason I'm going Bottas in second is because I did say earlier that, you know, if it's a clear 1-2 for Mercedes, I think they will swap them around and put Bottas in first to win the race instead of Hamilton. But I don't think Mercedes will have that comfort zone. So I think Bottas will be forced to finish in second place. And then in third, I'm going for Max Verstappen. The reason is, I think the Hypersoft tyres will last better than people expect. And I think Verstappen will take those Hypersoft tyres quite long into this Grand Prix compared to what we think. Or, you know, how long they're going to go into this race. So, I think Max will finish in 3rd place. In 4th, I'm going to go Sebastian Vettel because I think he will put on the Hypersoft tyres at the end. 5th, Ricciardo, and 6th will be Kimi Raikkonen. So guys, right now in the chat, let me know what are your predictions for the final race in 2018. Who's going to win? Who's going to finish in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and so on and so forth. Put in the chat right now, and I'll read out as many as I can in the next 15 minutes. Right, let me just cut to this. Great to see you all here. By the way, again, if you are new to the channel, we'll be doing this for 2019 as well, for every race weekend. So, don't forget to subscribe on the bottom right of the screen, or click on my channel name and go to my channel page and subscribe, and hit the notifications bell for more content like this. Right, let's look at some predictions as I'm now starting to pile in. John Hubner says Vettel to win, Max 2nd and Charles Leclerc in 3rd. Not sure that'll happen, but you never know. Andrew Drury, Ricciardo will break down on lap 23. I'm surprised Nib has not removed that comment by now. Ronan Brady, I think Vettel will get ahead of Bottas and Verstappen after Vettel. Okay, Nathan says Hamilton to win, Vettel 2nd, Max 3rd and Bottas 4th. John Brown Lewis will ask how far behind is Bottas. Simon Cragland says Hamilton 1st, Ricciardo 2nd, Verstappen 3rd. Optimistic, but Red Bull's tyre wear is so good that it will happen. Yesterday I was right about the top 3. Let's hope for another one. Rise says Fernando Alonso to win the race. Botti Gamer, team orders robbed. Bottas is winning Russia. Team orders should give him his win back. Granted, a Mercedes 1-2, P3 for Max, both Ferraris to DNF. Perez, best of the rest. Yeah, if they do have a clear 1-2 and they're not under threat from a Verstappen or a Vettel or a Ricciardo, then I think they should swap Bottas and Hamilton. It's only right, and I think it'd be a fitting way to end the season for Mercedes and for F1. Ronan Brady, what's your opinion on the undercut? The undercut will be powerful, definitely, because this track, in the past, it has been powerful with the undercut. So it will be powerful. I'm not sure how powerful, but it definitely will be a factor in the race. Gina, Hamilton, Vettel, Verstappen, Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Bottas. It's too easy to make a safe prediction. Hopefully next year we can make plenty of wild predictions if the field gets closer. Anders Eriksson says Verstappen to win, Bottas 2nd, Vettel 3rd, and Hamilton 4th. Legion says Sorokin to win, 2nd, Van Dorn. Oh no, Stroll 2nd, Van Dorn, driver of the day. By the way, there is something I want you guys to do. When it gets to the point of the race where the driver of the day voting is available, please vote for Sergei Sorokin. Please vote for Sergei Sorokin. Because, yeah, just do it. It'd be great to have Sergei Sorokin win driver of the day, even if he goes out on the first lap. So, when that comes out, make sure to vote for Sergei Sorokin. Right, I'll just load up my... Actually, hold on. Let me just cut to a different image. There you go. Of Sebastian Vettel and the beautiful red Ferrari. By the way, if you are new to these watch-alongs, what I do, and I'm probably going to be doing this for next year as well, because I can't show the footage, of course, because of obvious copyright issues, what I do is I throw up as many pictures on the screen of what is going on at the race, and then I provide a radio commentary, basically, of what is going on. So, if you can't watch the race, don't worry. I will cover every moment of this Grand Prix. Right. Let me just look at the chat again. See what you guys are saying. Andrew Jury, who knows? Maybe Sergei will have a great race and win driver of the day anyway. Max Claydon, good afternoon to you. F it, I'll just vote for Bottas. Alexander, I think it is. Sorry if I've mispronounced your name. Says Hamilton to win, Vettel second, Raikkonen third, Verstappen fourth. And Bottas in fifth. Andrew Drury says that apparently Channel 4 is saying that there is a 40% chance of rain. Well, I'm looking at the they're doing a grid walk at the minute on Sky F1. The clouds are, I think it is a bit overcast, but I don't think it's going to rain. If it does, then, oh my, we are in for an amazing race, because the teams just won't be prepared for that. But, yeah, if we got rain, wow. Wow, wow, wow. But I'll move on from that car and go on to another beautiful car, the Red Bull. But what do you guys think is going to happen? We have 8 minutes to go until the start of the formation lap, and then probably about 10 minutes until the start of the race. Apex Gaming says Hamilton first, Bottas second, Max third. So you're going for the same top three as me then. Halam, of course, hopes that Kimi gets a podium for one last time. It would be great to see Kimi on the podium, because most likely it will be the final time Kimi gets to that podium. 60%, I've said that before, 60% chance that it won't rain though. It's not going to rain, come on. There's no way it can rain here. No way, surely. Who do you think will win the championship next year? That's from Apex Gaming. If I had to say now, I would still say Lewis Hamilton. I don't see how him or the Mercedes team can be stopped until 2020 at the earliest. So, yeah, right now, I would say Hamilton, but please do not quote me on that, because I'm not going to be making some absolute final predictions for next season and who I think is going to win the championship until after pre-season testing. As Lewis Hamilton just having his tyres fitted to his car, the ultra soft tyres they'll be starting on. Kimi will have a podium with Sauber. I hope so, but I don't think that will happen. What about Charles Leclerc? He will be in there, but I don't think he will win the championship. I don't think he will. I think 2020 is the season that Leclerc will first, properly go for that championship. I don't think 2019, at the end of the season, I don't think Leclerc will be there for the championship. I think he'll drop off. But again, we don't know how fast the cars are going to be, so let's wait until pre-season. Andrew Drury says, Kimi always ends up on the podium. Yeah, that is true. It's because what he does is he doesn't go for ambitious moves. He keeps his tyres in a nice state and just conservatively drives the race and eventually ends up on the podium, because he is very consistent when it comes to race pace. You cannot doubt that about Kimi. Very consistent, knows what he's doing, no pun intended. But yeah, he's very consistent when it comes to managing his tyres, and just his general pace is just very consistent. Scoop Richardson says, other than the front wing, will there be any motor changes in displacement for 2019? The changes for 2019 is the front wing. The rear wing is being put, I think, slightly higher, I think it is. And I think they're making some adjustments to the barge boards, and the driver weight will be kind of solved. So drivers like Nico Hülkenberg won't have such a penalty. John Hubner, it took Schumacher 5 years to get a championship with Ferrari. Leclerc will need a few years. I don't think he necessarily does. I think, again, 2020, I think by 2025, I think Leclerc would have had, if he hasn't won the championship by then, he would have had at least 2 proper cracks at the championship. Apex Gaming, what do you think of Danny's championship goal? I think, what was it, Ricardo said by, was it 2021? He wants to be champion or be going for the championship. Renault have also come out with that goal. They should, considering they're a manufacturer team, they should be in that kind of position by then, but they are quite far off right now. Let me look through the chat, see some more comments or predictions. Simon Craglan, what do you think about the new regulation changes for next year? I am planning on doing a podcast about this during the winter. That will be live, by the way. And just to let you guys know, next weekend, I will be, and me and Nib actually will be doing the podcast live for the first time. Next Saturday at 3 PM UK time, we'll be live for, well, our first ever live podcast reviewing the 2018 season. But yeah, I'm planning to do a podcast during the winter talking about the 2019 regulations. But right now, we will go a lot more in depth about it in that podcast. But right now, I don't really know if it will make enough of a difference. I think it will make a small difference, but not enough. But again, we'll go more in depth once we do that in a podcast. As we are now about 5 minutes, I'd say, away from the race start and about 3 minutes away from the formation lap. So if you've got any final predictions, make sure to put it in the chat and I'll read out as many as I can in the next 3 to 4 minutes. As the drivers are set to go away on their formation lap for the final time. And yeah, looking at the screen right now, and it says risk of rain for this session is 40%. That's from FIA Race Control. So yeah, there is a chance of rain. I'm looking at the clouds. I see what they mean. I definitely see what they mean. I don't think it will rain, but oh, let's pray. Let's pray we get some rain. Halam899, Kimi win will be a great way for him to finish his Ferrari career. Of course, no pun intended, finishing his Ferrari career. Where did he... I think he won the 2012 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix from P4 as well. So maybe he can replicate the same drive that he did 6 years ago. As they are now set to go on the formation lap, and as Niblo says, if it rains, it will be absolute madness. The reason that will be madness is because the teams, when they come to Abu Dhabi, they will not have a Scooby-Doo what to do in wet conditions because they just aren't prepared for it. And oh dear, I'm not going to comment on that. That was incredibly cringeworthy. But yeah, as the formation lap's about to start. Oh dear. Hello to Raghav Gupta in the chat. You joined us at a very good time. The race is about to start. Yeah, I don't think it will rain. I don't think it will. I mean, if you go back to the Spanish Grand Prix, we had a 90% chance of rain and it was sunny for most of the race. So I don't think it will. But well, it'd be a great way to end the season, wouldn't it? Rain at Abu Dhabi. But right. They are now on their formation lap, guys. But we are probably, because it's such a long lap in the dry, when they're going at full racing speed, we're going to have to wait another 2 minutes until the race gets underway. Please rain. As now, Hamilton and the 2 Ferraris and the 2 Red Bulls are now on the first DRS straight here at Yas Marina. Someone just saying that the face cam off Fernando is beautiful. I think they just said, yeah, it is very good. They're bringing it back for next season as well. Next season, every single car will have that camera. So don't worry about it going away. It's going to be there for the entirety of 2019 and probably continuously after that. But now, Lewis Hamilton is coming through now into the final sector on this formation lap. As we are now just moments away, Fernando Alonso is, well, miles behind on this formation lap. He's only coming to the end of the second sector now, so we definitely have still, I'd say, another minute until this race starts. So, yeah. Lewis Hamilton is almost up to the grid, and Fernando Alonso's already or only just done the second sector. As Hamilton now is coming up to the final corner. I'm trying to find a picture of the formation lap, so don't worry, guys. I am trying to look for pictures. They just aren't appearing right now, which is annoying. But that's the way it is. But don't worry, the race is about to get underway. As the top 6 are now on the grid. But again, because it's such a long lap, probably going to have to wait another minute until the lights actually go out for this Grand Prix. So, get ready, guys, for the start of this race. Again, when I get a picture from the race, I will throw it up on the screen as soon as possible. But right now, annoyingly, there's no pictures to put on the screen because there isn't any that I can. As the Williamses now come up to the back of the grid to form the grid. And for the final time in 2018, it is going to be lights out and away we go here in 2018 for the final time. And Lewis Hamilton gets a very good start, and so does Valtteri Bottas. It's a Mercedes 1-2. What's happened to one of the Red Bulls? One of the Red Bull is Verstappen, has gone way down the field there, I think. And, oh, we got a Renault there going right around the outside of the Haas and was hitting the Haas car there. But one of the Red Bulls, I don't know which one it is, has had an absolutely awful start to this race. I don't know which one it is, though, as they now come through too. And it is Max Verstappen, who has had a shocking start. Normally, it's the other Red Bull car having a bad start, as Hamilton is so far in the lead already. As Charles Leclerc tries to pass Ricciardo down the straight and almost does it. And Leclerc's going to have a go. Oh my God! What the happened then? That is a safety car. Oh, that is a definite safety car. Wow, what an accident that was. And there's a fire on Hülkenberg's car. He needs to get out of that right now. That is one of the biggest accidents I think I've ever seen. I have to see that again. What happened? What even happened? Wow. I need to see that again. But I think Hülkenberg is okay. I think. I'll throw a picture on the screen for you guys of what's happened in the start. So, Charles Leclerc, by the way, is up to P5. So Leclerc passed Ricciardo down to the end of the second sector. Right, I'll finally get a picture on the screen for you guys. And I believe because the car is upside down, Hulkenberg has a bit of trouble getting out of the car. That's why he's not out of the car yet. So here you go. Here is the race start. Lewis Hamilton already at that point pulling away from his rivals. But the car is upside down. And I hope that Hulkenberg is okay. And I think he is. I think Hulkenberg is okay. The reason he hasn't got out of the car, I think, is because he hasn't... Or he can't get out of the car because the car is upside down. I think that's why he can't get out of the car. Sorry, going silent there. I was just having to shout at my my cat for being annoying. If you watched yesterday's qualifying watch-along, you'll know. But yeah, Hulkenberg, I think, is okay. I just saw him moving his head. So, Hulkenberg is okay. He is okay, for sure. So, and Brendan Hartley's in the pits for a new front wing. Was it him? It couldn't have been him. He didn't have that good of a start. And Hulkenberg's car's been overturned. And Hulkenberg is moving and now getting out of the car. So Hulkenberg, as I thought, is absolutely fine. I knew he was fine when the car went over, because the cars nowadays are so good at keeping the drivers safe. They're so good at that. The crash structure, the monocoque, the halo, everything is so good when it comes to keeping the driver safe. So no worries about Hulkenberg. He's all okay. And we'll have to see how that happened. I want to see a replay of that. We haven't seen one as of yet. As now we do have, again, a safety car because of Hulkenberg's flipped car. So Charles Leclerc into the first chicane after the... So Hulkenberg locks up with Romain Grosjean, and then Grosjean flips Hulkenberg over. Now, is it Grosjean's fault? I don't know what you guys think about that. I don't know. Let's look from Grosjean's on board. That's Grosjean's fault. I think Hulkenberg had enough of his car ahead to deserve space, and I think Grosjean should not have stuck his nose. So Hulkenberg is clearly ahead, and then Grosjean puts his wheel, you know, up the inside of Hulkenberg. Yeah, that's Grosjean's fault, 100%. That's Grosjean's fault, and that might earn him a race ban for 2019. But I think they all get cleared after a season, so maybe not. But yeah, that is 100% Romain Grosjean's fault. He definitely caused that crash, no doubt about it. So Grosjean is going to be in trouble for that, for sure. He's going to get a lot of penalty points for that. So, guys, what did you think of that accident? Did you think Grosjean was at fault? Did you think Hulkenberg was at fault for turning in? Brando was saying the opposite. It can't be Hulkenberg's fault. He has his car ahead. Yes, maybe you could argue he shouldn't turn in, but his car's ahead. Grosjean can, you know, pull out and not try that at that moment. I think Grosjean's at fault. He caused the crash by sticking his nose up there for really no good reason. Niblo, unnecessary by Grosjean. Grosjean should be effing disqualified. That's from Botti Gamer. Raghav Gupta, Roman already has a lot of penalty points. Yes. If there was one race to go in 2018, then Grosjean would be having a race ban for... If there was a race after this, he would definitely have a race ban. No doubt about it. I don't think he'll have a race ban for Australia because I think after a season they all get their points cleared. If I'm wrong, then let me know. But yeah. Legion says also Grosjean race ban, racing incident, but Grosjean's fault. I wouldn't say racing incident. That's from Still I Rise. I wouldn't say racing incident. I think Grosjean clearly is at fault for that. Right, let me try and see if I can find a picture of the actual crap. Right, here we go. Found the perfect one to show you how Hulkenberg's car was overturned. As we're still under a safety car, in a minute I will read out the order as soon as I put this picture up and just show you guys what has happened. So there you go. Hulkenberg, obviously the car on the left. And for me, Grosjean is at fault, and it, by the way, is already under investigation for that incident. And I think Grosjean will, knowing the FIA, get a penalty. So Romain Grosjean, yeah, did not need to put his car at the inside. Hulkenberg had got past. Just wait. You know, just wait. Wait until the net. You know, there is another straight after that. Grosjean doesn't have to absolutely go for it like it's the last lap. That's what he was acting like there. He got no penalty. Well, I disagree with that. Grosjean, for me, should have got a penalty. That was clearly Grosjean's fault. Hulkenberg's car's ahead. Grosjean caused the accident. But anyway, I'll read out the order. We're still under a safety car after that very, very dangerous crash at the start. So the order is, as a safety car is in at the end of this lap, Hamilton leads from Bottas second, third is Vettel, fourth is Raikkonen, fifth is Charles Leclerc, ahead of Daniel Ricciardo in sixth, seventh is Grosjean, eighth is Ocon, ninth is Verstappen, 10th is Perez, 11th is Sainz, 12th Ericsson, 13th Pierre Gasly. Very good start. He is in for a good Grand Prix. Alonso 14th, Stroll with his normally great starts in 15th. Magnussen's had a terrible start in 16th. 17th Van Dorn, 18th is Sirotkin, and Brendan Hartley 19th because of, I think he had debris stuck in his car. So that is your field for the restart of this race. And as James Eric in the chat just said, yes, Red Bull had a shocking first lap. And the chances of a podium right now, I have to say, do not look good. But now we're coming to the end of this safety car, coming into the final sector. Don't expect any moves into turn one because it's pretty hard to pass into turn one. And now Lewis Hamilton, I believe. Yep, he is. Lewis Hamilton has let go and already building a commanding lead to his teammate Valtteri Bottas. And so is Bottas to Vettel and Raikkonen. Charles Leclerc not that far behind the two Ferraris. As now they come across the line to start the race for real. As Verstappen now is the man to watch because he has to get past these slower cars. The slower cars being Ocon, Grosjean, and Ricciardo also needs to get past Charles Leclerc pretty soon. As all Raikkonen looking up there. Charles Leclerc not that far behind the two Ferraris. Botty Gamer, that crash looks like a deliberate strike from Grosjean. It's not deliberate, it's just a common mistake. As Verstappen goes down the inside of Ocon into the hairpin before the first DRS straight, and Verstappen is up to P8, I think, or is Ocon coming back past? Yes, he is, and so is Sergio Perez. And Verstappen gained a position, but now has lost two at the end of the straight. Red Bull have no speed in a straight line, but Verstappen will get a run on Sergio Perez going down to the end of the second long straight. Perez kind of defends. Verstappen will just go out the inside. He has a lot better braking in the Red Bull. Apparently Max has a battery issue. That would make sense because he was mugged down the straight and almost by the Renault of Carlos Sainz as well. And now has to pass his best friend in the whole wide world, Esteban Ocon. This will be fun. They actually get to race instead of, well, not technically racing. But Lewis Hamilton, by the way, leads by 1.7, now 1.8 seconds from Bottas. Pulling away at a ferocious speed. Lewis Hamilton is dominating this race. As Verstappen now is in the same position he was about 2 minutes ago. Now has to get back past Esteban Ocon. But if he gets past at the hairpin, then the same thing will happen again. So Verstappen has to be smart here and not go for the move of the hairpin and set himself up for a pass down the straight. Will he go for the move? Yes, he does again, but Ocon doesn't give him any space and Ocon is hit by Verstappen. Part 2 to the drama as Ocon is now going to get a great run down this straight. Ocon's going to get back past. Here comes Ocon. Down to the second chicane. Ocon, yes, not going to give him any quarter. Defends from Max. This is great racing. Exactly what we want to see. And now Max surely will make the move down into the second chicane at the end of these long straights. Around the outside, Ocon pulling away. Ocon is all over the track to try and stop Max, but won't be able to. Max gets past, but a bit rude from Max Verstappen, but he got the move done. That's all that matters. So, part 2 to the drama there. Verstappen versus Ocon. And yeah, what's happened to Kimi Raikkonen? Charles Leclerc's passed Kimi Raikkonen. Charles Leclerc's up to P4. Wow. How has that happened? We have to see that. How has... Kimi must have made a mistake at one of the chicanes. Because Charles Leclerc... And yes, Kimi did. What the hell? Kimi Raikkonen has an issue. Kimi Raikkonen has broken down. That's the issue. He's lost power. And he's out of this race. And he is parked now on the pit straight. And I think that's going to have to be another safety car. Kimi Raikkonen is out. Charles Leclerc's up to P4. If there's another retirement, Leclerc will get a podium. But Raikkonen is out. And I think if he can't move that car, they're going to have to put a safety car out to retrieve it. Virtual safety car. Right. That might be enough to retrieve that car. I don't know. But, yeah, Charles Leclerc up to P4. And by the way, Leclerc is not exactly being pressured by Ricciardo. But, yeah, Kimi Raikkonen is trying to reset, I think, the power on his steering wheel. But I don't think it's going to... Yeah, his dashboard switched off. The same issue that Ricciardo had at the US Grand Prix. It might be a battery issue or an energy store issue. Because his dashboard has completely switched off. But now, surely Kimi Raikkonen can't get back going. He's trying to do something to get back going again. But I don't think he will. I think Kimi is out of this race, as are Mercedes coming in for a pit stop. It looks as though they are. I don't think they should. I don't think Mercedes should come in for a pit stop. But it looks as though they might. And yes, Hamilton is in. Lewis Hamilton pits for Mercedes. So Lewis Hamilton pits. Bottas stays out. I don't know if that's the correct thing to do. I don't know. He puts on super soft tyres and comes out. Where will he come out? Onto the grid. There's Grosjean's pitted as well. That's why the two Red Bulls are there. But Hamilton, will he come out ahead of Verstappen? Let's see. So Hamilton will come out the pit lane. And no, Verstappen is ahead. So, and I think Mercedes have made a mistake there. I think Mercedes have made a mistake. Because, yes, Hamilton is on super soft tyres, but it's too early to pit. I think they've made a mistake. So Bottas now leads from Vettel second, Ricciardo third, Verstappen fourth. Where's Charles Leclerc gone? Charles Leclerc has pitted and is in 14th. So, Grosjean's pitted. Grosjean is now at the back of the grid, as Kimi Raikkonen is out of this race. But yeah, Bottas leads from Vettel second, Ricciardo third, Verstappen fourth. Hamilton is fifth after pitting under the virtual safety car. Then Ocon sixth, Perez seventh, Ericsson is eighth, Sainz is ninth, Gasly is 10th, Alonso's P11. Come on, Fernando, you can do it. But I think they may have made a mistake there with Lewis Hamilton. I think they pitted way too early. As the virtual safety car, by the way, is still out. I mean, yes, you do lose less time in pitting under the virtual safety car, but you can't. You got to pit at a correct time, as the virtual safety car is about to end, and it does. We are now green flag. I'm about to post a picture of Verstappen barging past Ocon, so let me try and get it on the screen for you guys. Now Hamilton has to pass the two Red Bulls, I think, to not lose this race, because he will lose lap time to Vettel and his teammate. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this pitch on the screen. There you go. So that's how Verstappen got past Ocon. That's right before they touched wheels. So barging his way past was Max Verstappen. But I think now we are in for a very good Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Hamilton now surely has to get past these Red Bulls to not lose time. As got some close racing there. Ocon, Perez, Ericsson, Sainz, Gasly. We are in for a good race, I think. I think we are in for a good race. So let's see who's going to make a move. There's Charles Leclerc back there behind one of the Williamses. Here comes Lewis Hamilton down the inside of Max Verstappen and the first chicane. Can Verstappen come back on the hyper soft tyres? I think he can. Yes, he can. Here comes Max. DRS as well. Surely Max will get past with DRS. And he does. And he's scraping along on the floor. That is so nice to see. Max gets back past. And now Lewis will have to wait, surely, to pass Verstappen. This is the problem for Lewis. This is the problem. He now has to fight through traffic to get back to where he should be, and is losing time. Not massive amounts of time, but he definitely is losing lap time. And is dropping behind Max now quite a lot. I don't know what's happened to Lewis. Maybe he's now turned his battery down or something to not get past Verstappen, but he's going quite slowly on the super soft tyres. Maybe he's overheated them in trying to pass Verstappen. Right, so I'll read out the order probably on the next lap. Let's just wait for it to settle down, as Daniel Ricciardo sets the fastest lap, a 1:43.8. Ricciardo looking good for a podium, a final podium of his Red Bull career. And yeah, Hamilton has just dropped back a lot. He's losing a lot of time. What has happened to Lewis Hamilton since he tried to pass Verstappen? Vettel is just over a second behind Bottas. If he gets within a second, you can use DRS twice down the two straights. And with the way the Ferrari has been in that middle sector, I think we could see Vettel go for the lead. As who's that in the background? This is Leclerc passing Kevin Magnussen. He's passing Magnussen like he's a back marker. That's how fast that Charles Leclerc is. So, and Vettel now within DRS, even though he's not in a DRS zone, he's just about a second or under a second behind Bottas. So Bottas has to get a move on here. But what we're seeing here, Brendan Hartley. Oh, Brendan, come on. That's such a silly mistake. And surely we'll have a puncture or tyre damage. That's a silly mistake from Brendan Hartley. As Bottas, again, pulling out in the final sector. That's where the Mercedes is so good compared to the Ferrari. If Vettel is within a second of Bottas coming across the start-finish straight, Vettel should get past down the DRS straights. Hamilton, though, dropping behind Verstappen by quite a lot. I don't think this has worked out for Hamilton because, yes, the super soft tyres might work eventually, but these hyper soft and ultra soft tyres are not going to go away as much as I think Mercedes think. I think they made a massive mistake, as Hamilton is now, how many seconds behind? Hamilton, I'd say, what, 9 seconds, 10 seconds behind, so say half a pit stop. RD, why did they pit him? I think they pitted him to try and get him off the ultra soft tyre, but there was no point in doing that, as Grosjean now passes Sergei Sirotkin into the chicane there. But yeah, I think they tried to do it to try and get off those tyres. Hello to Prussia, who's joined us. You've missed, well, actually quite a lot. We've had some very good racing. This has already been better than the last Abu Dhabi Grand Prix last year. As, oh, so Kimi Raikkonen, the red light is flashing, so it must be a battery issue like I suspected on the Ferrari. But Vettel is now being dropped by Bottas. Ashraf, so Hamilton won't pit again. He shouldn't have to, but he's losing time to the 4 cars ahead of him. So if they can build a gap to Lewis and then come out on fresher tyres, then Lewis will be under threat at the end by quite a lot. And I'd be interested to see as well, what is the gap between, I don't know what tyres Leclerc put on, but what is the gap, say, Leclerc to Ricciardo and Verstappen? I don't know, but I think it won't be a full pit stop unless these Red Bulls just pull away, which they probably will. So, and Verstappen looks as though he's closing on Ricciardo. Verstappen is, of course, on the faster tyre, the hyper soft, and Ricciardo is on the slower tyre, but the more durable ultra soft. As Carlos Sainz in 9th is closing on Ericsson, but doesn't have the speed to get past. Can he get a run? I think he can, you know. Down to the second chicane. DRS, no, I don't think he can. He's not close enough, but Sainz, I think, can definitely go faster than Marcus Ericsson right now. 2 Force Indias, 6th and 7th, running line astern. Right, so I'll read out the order now on lap 12 out of 55. Bottas leads from Vettel 2nd, Ricciardo 3rd, Verstappen 4th, Hamilton is 5th, Ocon 6th, Perez is 7th, Ericsson 8th, 9th is Sainz, 10th is Gasly, 11th is Fernando Alonso, soon to be passed by Charles Leclerc in 12th. And then Magnussen is 13th, 14th is Stroll, 15th Van Dorn, 16th Grosjean, 17th Sirotkin, 18th is Hartley. And then your 2 retirements are Kimi Raikkonen and Nico Hülkenberg. By the way, Hamilton, Leclerc, Grosjean and Hartley have all pitted. And the other drivers have not. As we're just looking here at Carlos Sainz closing on Ericsson, I don't think though Sainz is close enough to have the opportunity to maybe go for a move on Ericsson down into one of the chicanes with DRS. As, who is this? Is this Max Verstappen? Yes, it is. Max, I think, is within DRS of Ricciardo. Yes, he is. He has to be. Yeah, he definitely is. So, Max Verstappen should be going for the move on his teammate very soon. Sainz tries to pass Ericsson after the first DRS straight. He'll now do the cutback through the corner. So, Ericsson's on super soft tyres, I think. Yeah, he is. And Sainz is on ultra soft tyres, so Sainz should have the better braking ability around the outside here. No, he doesn't brake late. I thought he would. He's now going to do switchback after switchback through these chicanes, but won't go for the move. I think Sainz should have been a bit more aggressive there to go around the outside of Marcus Ericsson. But Verstappen now within DRS of Ricciardo, and I think Verstappen will go for the move very soon. But Lewis Hamilton, guys, is... let me just look. So 2.5, 3.5, 4.3. Yeah, Hamilton is about 8 to 9 seconds behind Bottas. It's not bad, but for the end of the race, he will be a bit under threat. And the super soft tyres are not working well right now. This is Verstappen getting past Ocon earlier. And they're showing a replay of what happened in Brazil. Of course they are. Right, I'll show you another picture now, guys, of when the Iceman, the Kimster, ended his final race for Ferrari in a very sad way. As Verstappen is closing on Ricciardo, not close enough though to go for the move. Not yet anyway. Right, here you go. There is Kimi Raikkonen. Sad end to a great, well, career at the front of the grid. Sad end for the Iceman as Verstappen continues to close on Ricciardo. So, just looking, Carlos Sainz is, yeah, alongside Ericsson. Here we go, down into the second, after the second DRS straight, and Carlos Sainz gets past Ericsson, locks up though. And where is Sainz? I think Sainz went across the... No, he didn't. He made the corner just fine. So Carlos Sainz is now up to 8th place for Renault. Tonka Toy Truck, what happened to Hulkenberg? Grosjean hit him on the first lap and Hulkenberg flipped over and the car set on fire. But he's all fine. Don't worry about him. As now, Verstappen's dropped behind Ricciardo by quite a bit now. And this is how Sainz got past. DRS. Had enough speed around the outside. And yeah, good move by Carlos Sainz. That's what he should have done a lap ago. But Bottas is leading by 2.5 seconds from Vettel. And then Verstappen is about a second behind Ricciardo, who is in third. In fifth, Lewis Hamilton, who has pitted, by the way. 6th is Ocon, 7th Perez, 8th is Ericsson, 8th is Sainz, 9th is Ericsson, 10th is Pierre Gasly, and then outside of the points but still finishing the race is Alonso, Leclerc, Magnussen, Stroll, Van Dorn, Grosjean, Sorokin and Hartley, but Hartley, Grosjean and Charles Leclerc have all pitted, and then out of the race, Kimi Raikkonen and Nico Hulkenberg. So, we have 40 laps to go, and now I want to know, when are the top guys going to pit? And when I mean top guys, I mean the top 4. As we see a replay of what happened, I still think Grosjean is at fault for that. Hulkenberg did have most of his car ahead, or at least half of it, and caused the crash. Simple as. Grosjean should have got a penalty for what he did to Nico Hulkenberg. So Ericsson now looks like he's under pressure from Pierre Gasly, as Sebastian Vettel has pitted for super soft tyres, so he will not be using the hyper soft then. Thought they'd go ambitious, but they're not going to. 3.7 seconds, so that was quite slow from Vettel. Well, from Ferrari actually, not from Vettel. As he now winds his way through this interesting pit lane and comes out behind the Force India. That's not good. He now has some traffic but should get past very soon. Hopefully, though, he doesn't end up having a silly crash with Ocon. He doesn't need to. And yet, he's going to get a great run through the corner and get past Ocon. And apparently there's something wrong, apparently, at Ferrari with the wheel guns, as Vettel now passes Ocon down into, or after the first DRS straight, and wasn't really held up for long. If anything, getting the DRS actually helped him instead of hindering him. And yeah, a bit slow there on the right rear tyre from Ferrari. Hopefully Vettel doesn't have to retire. But now Vettel is pitted. Vettel is 15.9 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton. So I guess it's working. I don't know. As Perez has just passed Esteban Ocon. So Perez passing Ocon now. I don't know if that's team orders because Perez is on a better tyre. I don't know. As Valtteri Bottas pits and goes onto the super soft tyres, 2.5 seconds. Bottas will be ahead of Vettel for sure. But I think it's starting to work for Hamilton at the minute. At the end of the race, it might be a bit tough for him with the tyre wear, but I think it's starting to work, this strategy. As, yet, Bottas way ahead of Vettel, and now Bottas will stay clearly ahead. And I think it's pretty clear to see that these rear wheel spaces, this wheel rim that Mercedes had on the car from Spa until the US Grand Prix, and now they have it back on the car for this race, it does give them an advantage when it comes to managing their rear tyres and rear wheel temperatures. If you haven't read up on it, then don't worry, I have a video covering it. I did it on Tuesday, so if you go back and look through my videos, I did it on Tuesday. The Mercedes wheel rim issue explained, as Carlos Sainz now going to pass Ocon. Is he around the outside? No, he's going to do the switchback here, Fernando Alonso style, just like his hero. Ocon goes massively defensive and will have nothing to defend with going down on the second DRS straight. And here comes Carlos Sainz. Around the outside is Pierre Gasly is passing Ericsson in the background. And Gasly, will he get past? Oh, that was close. Good racing though. Very good racing between Gasly and Ericsson. And Ocon only just stays ahead, but will Sainz now get a run into this next corner? I'll be amazed if he got past. No, he's not going to. Not enough front downforce to do so. As now, in comes Max Verstappen before Ricciardo. That's interesting. So, he will now... It'll be behind Bottas and Vettel for sure. No doubt about that. 21 seconds his pit lane time. And Vettel goes past as well. And Max Verstappen... Well, let's see what happens with Ricciardo. But I think Max Verstappen might be third. Might be fourth. I don't know. We'll have to see. But Verstappen does pit. The only people not to pit are Ricciardo, Perez, Ocon, Sainz, Ericsson, Gasly, Alonso, Magnussen, Stroll, Van Dorn, Sirotkin. As now there's some racing in the background there. And it's Sainz and Ocon and Gasly and Ericsson again. So get ready, guys, for more racing. As Carlos Sainz closes on Ocon. Can he make the move eventually? As, by the way, Fernando Alonso very close to Ericsson and Gasly. So Alonso could get some points here. Sainz gets the DRS. Will he be able to make a move? Ocon goes slightly defensive, but knows that that Carlos Sainz won't go for the move. Battling over P7 they are. Gasly is just behind Ericsson, and they're battling for P9 with Fernando Alonso now. It's actually quite a good race. This race, one of the best Abu Dhabi Grand Prix I can actually remember. As Ricciardo, by the way, is leading, hasn't pitted yet, but has he is pulling away from Lewis Hamilton as Ocon now pits from his hypersoft tyre stint, and he will go on to the super soft tyres most likely. Still I rise. Hamilton won't win, trust me. Well, Bottas is, what, 8.4 seconds behind Hamilton. And Vettel's about 12 seconds behind. So, maybe, I don't know. We'll have to see. Ricciardo's still out on track on his Ultra Soft tyres. I have to say the Ultra Soft is working very well right now. As I'm just looking. Oh, Gasly's now fallen a bit behind Ericsson. And so is Alonso. So, no moves there. The closest battle on track is Gasly and Ericsson. But Gasly is about 1.1 seconds behind. I want to see, though, will Daniel Ricciardo pit? I don't think he will. I don't think he needs to. Ricciardo doesn't really have to pit, I would say, for another 5 laps. Ricciardo should be able to go to lap 25. Definitely, at least, on that tyre. So it's now lap 20 out of 55. 35 laps to go in 2018. Daniel Ricciardo leads from Lewis Hamilton second. Bottas is third. Vettel fourth. Verstappen is fifth and closing on Vettel. And then you have Perez in sixth. Sainz is seventh. Ericsson eighth. Gasly ninth. 10th is Alonso. 11th is Charles Leclerc, getting held up by the Ericsson, Gasly, Alonso battle. And then Van Dorn, Magnussen is 12th, and then Stroll 13th, Van Dorn 14th, and then 15th Grosjean, 16th Sorokin, 17th Hartley. Last is Ocon, but Ocon has pitted. And then out of this race, Kimi Raikkonen and Nico Hülkenberg. And I did just see that radar on the Red Bull pit wall there. And there is rain in the area. But I don't think it will rain. If it does, then we are in for a crazy end to this season. So, we're basically just waiting to see Ricciardo pit, because as I look down the field, the closest battle is Grosjean on Van Dorn. Grosjean should pass Van Dorn quite easily. I hope we can actually go on board with Grosjean, because that would be more interesting to watch right now than Lewis Hamilton in the final sector, as Ricciardo stays out and does another lap. But yeah, and Hartley is only 7/10 behind Sergei Sorokin. But yeah, it's not the most interesting race right now, but it has been a good race so far for from an entertainment point of view. Track temperature is dropping according to Tonka Toy Track. I wouldn't be surprised if there is rain in the area. And also, of course, we're getting further and further into the night in Abu Dhabi. Just looking, I'm just trying to see, guys, what battles are going on. So yeah, Grosjean is within DRS of Van Dorn, and then you've got Hartley within DRS of Sorokin. But other than that, there's no real battles going on right now. Hopefully, something can happen very soon. Ricciardo, though, will definitely not come out ahead of his teammate. He will be behind Max Verstappen, but will have fresher tyres, no matter what tyres they are. Nothing exciting happening. Pray for rain. That's from Apex Gaming. Yeah, let's pray for rain. Let's pray for rain. I don't think it'll happen, though. But we can always, pray to the gods that it does happen. Ricciardo is, I wouldn't say pushing. He's definitely trying to eke out a gap. But he's not pushing, in terms of, he's not pushing at like a qualifying lap level right now, as the gap is still 6.2 seconds to Lewis Hamilton. I want to see Ricciardo pit because there's nothing exciting going on right now. Grosjean, though, is right behind Van Dorn, but we're not seeing it right now, and now it's dropped quite a bit behind, so Grosjean must have made a mistake. As Max Verstappen is slowly closing in on Sebastian Vettel. I'd love to see those two fight for the podium. This is a replay of Verstappen's pit stops. Verstappen pit stop timed at 2.08 seconds. That has to be one of the fastest of the season. That is one hell of a pit stop. And talking on Verstappen, he is 1.6 behind Vettel. So Max could be on for a podium. We don't know though, as of yet. But right now, again, nothing really going on. We're waiting for Ricciardo to pit. That's the only real exciting thing we're waiting for. As Vettel just cannot close in on Bottas. But Verstappen, slowly but surely, is gaining on Sebastian Vettel. Ricciardo 6.4 ahead. Ricciardo still has not pitted. Grosjean is about 0.6 of a second behind Van Dorn, who is 14th. That's the closest battle on track. Oh no, the closest battle actually was just Ocon and Hartley. Ocon has got past. Here we go, finally. The closest battle on the track, pretty much. Grosjean and Van Dorn for 14th place. What can Roman do about Stoffel in what could be Stoffel's final race in F1? Andrew Jury, great comment. Good old Brendan in last place. Yeah. This also is probably going to be Hartley's last race in F1. Bit of a shame, he's such a nice guy, but yeah. As Grosjean losing a bit of time there in the final sector to the McLaren. As so Alonso right now is in the points for McLaren, P10 so far. I don't think he'll finish there because we do have cars behind that will jump them, as rain is falling very slowly from that camera angle. It's definitely not going to get the drivers panicking, but it is small spits of rain. Right. What have we got here? So we've got, that's Ocon closing on Sergei Sorokin, as Ricciardo now is pulling away quite a lot from Hamilton, so I'm starting to think that Ricciardo maybe will pit very soon. Sorokin defends. Ocon will do the switchback as they always do. It's so smart to do a switchback through here. And now he gets the DRS again, and Ocon will fly past Sergei Sorokin. By the way, guys, if you're wondering why I'm not throwing pictures on the screen, it's because there is a lack of pictures right now on Twitter for me to find. Once I get one that is good enough, I will put it on the screen, but right now there isn't. So as soon as I get one, I will put it on the screen. Don't worry about that. So yeah, just waiting for Ricciardo to pit, pretty much. And whilst we have a lull in the race, we will be doing this. Oh, that's more than spitting. That's more than spitting rain. That is more than spitting rain. I want to see the lap times now. Before the chaos unfolds, if it rains even harder, we will do this, guys, for every race weekend in 2019. So don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. On the bottom right of the screen, you can subscribe there, or click on my channel name and subscribe to the channel. As now the rain is falling. And, well, I don't think the teams quite know what to do now. Christian Horner looks like he's thinking quite a lot about what to do. It's definitely nowhere near putting on intermediate tyres. Thank you to Apex Gaming for subbing. It's nowhere near enough to put on a set of intermediate tyres, but the grip levels will have gone down for sure, and you can see it on some of the painted lines, you can see the shine off of them. That's not the lights, that's more the rain right now. So, and Mercedes and Ferrari thinking of pit stops. They shouldn't be. It's nowhere near hard enough for a pit stop, as Brendan Hartley, it seems as though he's been stuck behind Sergei Sorokin for this entire race. 99 subs until 2k subscribers. Also, yeah, we are very close to 2k, so if you want to join the community, then please do. Be great to have you as a part of this growing community. So, right, that's thrown a bit of a spanner into the works, hasn't it? That bit of rain. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's raining enough still to cause issues. Sorokin goes off at the final corner, and now Hartley will make a move into turn one, will he? Round the outside. Go on, Brendan. And yes, great move. That's the best overtake of the race so far. Great move from Brendan. If that's his final, if that's the final thing he does in F1, then that's a good way to go out. Great move. I know Sorokin made a mistake, but that is a great move. Right round the outside at turn one. Very good. Oh, Ericsson. Ericsson's in trouble. Ericsson's car is failing. Ericsson, no. That is such a shame. He was running up in about 8th place, and now Ericsson is out of this Grand Prix. Some kind of issue. I don't know what it could be, but there is some kind of issue for Marcus Ericsson. And now he's going to pull off into the support pit lane and retire from the race. This also could be his final Grand Prix. So Ericsson is out, as Charles Leclerc, with that retirement, is now up to P10 in the other Sauber. And as Niblo just says there, yes, Ricciardo is starting to struggle. He's now dropping time to Lewis Hamilton. Right, I'll now, on lap 26 out of 55, read out the race order with now 29 laps to go in 2018. Daniel Ricciardo leads but has not pitted yet. Lewis Hamilton is second. And then third is Bottas. Fourth is Vettel. Fifth is Max Verstappen. Sixth is Sergio Perez. Seventh is Carlos Sainz, and only a second behind. Eighth is Pierre Gasly. Ninth is Fernando Alonso. 10th is Charles Leclerc. And then running but not in the points is K-Mag, Lance Stroll, Van Dorn, Grosjean, Ocon, Hartley, Sorokin. And now out of this race, Marcus Ericsson, Kimi Raikkonen, as you can see on your screen, and Nico Hülkenberg. As Charles Leclerc passes Alonso down into the first chicane after a DRS straight, can Fernando come back at Charles Leclerc? I hope he can. Fernando, yeah, he's definitely going to come back at Charles Leclerc here. But he just doesn't have the speed, unfortunately. Right, I'm going to just show you guys why we were all getting excited a minute ago about rain. Let me just throw it up on the screen if I can. There you go. There was the rain. I don't know if it's raining now. I don't think it is, because the drivers don't really seem to be struggling. But yeah, there was definitely rain, as Sergio Perez now pits from P7 to put on the super soft tyres. Niblo saying, well, pitting Leclerc has been a big mistake. Well, let's see. Let's see. We don't know that yet. Leclerc is up to P8. And I think Leclerc, once Sainz and Gasly pit, Leclerc will be up to P6. So I don't think it's necessarily yet a mistake. As now, still Grosjean is stuck behind Van Dorn. When is Grosjean going to get past? Come on, Roman. You've been stuck behind for so long. And now Ocon is all over the back of Roman, so we might have a three-way battle here for 13th place. It's still raining apparently. Okay, that is good. That'll offer the drivers some scary moments. Grosjean down the inside of Van Dorn. No, doesn't go for the move. He's so close to Van Dorn. He just needs to get a good run out of here. And he does get a good run out of there. Good enough at least. And now gets the DRS. Surely will be using his ERS battery down into the second DRS straight. Round the outside. No. Van Dorn defending very well from Romain Grosjean. So Van Dorn stays ahead, but Grosjean just cannot get past. Just cannot get past. As now Ocon closes on Grosjean. But so far, this has been a very good race, I think. Compared to, you know, what we normally get at this track, this has been, I think, a very good race. Ocon is... The problem for Ocon is he's close enough to Grosjean to go for a move as Fernando Alonso pits for probably the last time in his career. Now comes in about halfway through the Grand Prix and puts on super soft tyres. 2.6 second stops are good there by McLaren. But the problem for Ocon is he's close enough to Grosjean to make a move, but Grosjean has DRS off of the back of Van Dorn. Tonka Toy Truck, who has and has not pitted. The drivers not to pit are Daniel Ricciardo, Carlos Sainz, Pierre Gasly, Kevin Magnussen, Lance Stroll, Stoffel Van Dorn, and I believe Sergei Sorokin as well. As Verstappen, we're watching him at the minute. Oh no, we're watching Ricciardo right now. Verstappen 1.5 seconds behind Vettel. And then Vettel is... oh my god. 1.6 seconds behind Bottas. Oh dear. Will Smith is getting all kinds of exceptions for this race. He's allowed to do whatever he wants apparently. But yeah, Ricciardo leads now by 2.5 seconds. So the gap is coming down a lot. And now I'll post a picture for you guys of Charles Leclerc getting past Fernando Alonso. Here you go. Leclerc, quite easy down the inside. The Sauber is just too fast for the McLaren. Nothing Fernando could do to stop that freight train. As Ricciardo, when is Ricciardo going to pit? He should be pitting by now, I think. I think Ricciardo should, around now, start pitting. He's going to stay out, but I'm not sure that Ricciardo is really gaining anything right now by staying out on track. And apparently, lightning reported from the TV helicopter, according to Apex Gaming. Hopefully the rain does come, but I don't think it will still. We have had rain, but it hasn't been enough to force intermediate tyres to be even considered. I don't even know if they... I don't even know if the teams have any intermediate or wet tyres. As Ricciardo now on the first DRS straight. Sebastian Vettel does the fastest lap of 1:43 flat. We are still, I think, 2.2 seconds away from the lap record. It is amazing that Vettel has a lap record from the very first race at this Grand Prix. I know those were the days of refueling, but we've beaten many lap records this season from 2004. I can't believe that... I can't believe that we're still miles off the 2009 lap record. I can't believe that. Considering the cars are going faster. As, who is this? This is Sergio Perez. right on the back of Charles Leclerc. So here we go. This is going to be a battle as Gasly pits and goes down to about 15th place. So Sergio Perez now surely get DRS. He should do. He's close enough, I think. We don't know if he's got DRS, but I think he does. Yeah, he does have DRS. So Sergio Perez closing in on Charles Leclerc. But until any moves happen there, I'll read out the positions with lap. Or there's now lap 31. Actually, hold on a minute. Romain Grosjean down the inside of Stoffel Van Dorn. Van Dorn breaks around the outside, but Grosjean goes too deep. Trying to get past, and now Van Dorn surely will get a good run, but so will Ocon. We're going to have a great battle now on the second DRS straight. Verstappen now does the fastest lap. 3 wide, going down. And who makes it? Van Dorn holds them all off. Great move by Stoffel. Great move. Oh, Roman, don't do that. Hopping over the curb. I don't think he's in the best of moods right now. But once we calm down from that. So lap 31 out of 55. Daniel Ricciardo leads from Lewis Hamilton second. Bottas third. Vettel fourth. Verstappen fifth. Sainz is sixth. Seventh is Charles Leclerc. 8th is Perez. 9th Magnussen. 10th is Lance Stroll, but Lance is not pitted yet. And then 11th is Van Dorn. 12th Ocon. 13th is Romain Grosjean. 14th is Hartley. 15th is Sirotkin. 16th Gasly. 17th is Fernando Alonso, but Alonso has pitted. And then retirees are Marcus Ericsson, Kimi Raikkonen, and Nico Hulkenberg. We got to see this again from Van Dorn. This was great. So, you know, got passed by Grosjean and then got back past again and held off Ocon as well. So very good by the stop. And then Grosjean getting angry and just curve hops the one of the curves at the chicane. As someone just said there, Vettel was within a second of Bottas. He is closer, but as they cross the line, I'm afraid not close enough. Lap 32 out of 55, and I think Daniel should pit now. I don't think he's really gaining anything from staying out on track. He is... Let me just look. Oh, here comes Ocon on Van Dorn. Van Dorn defends to the inside. Ocon will go around the outside. Will he? No, Ocon. Van Dorn breaks on the inside. Will Ocon get a great run out of here? Down the inside. Van Dorn keeps around the outside. Great battling. This is great from Stoffel. Will Ocon go around the outside? Surely not. Oh, he does. That's... Oh, he's gone off. He's got to give the position back. He has to give the position back. He completed the move off the track. He has to give the position back. He has to give that back. He completed the move off the track. But that was great stuff from Stoffel and Ocon. And I'm surprised that the FIA have not told Force India that Ocon has to let Van Dorn back through, because he completed the move off the track. But yeah, great battle between those drivers. And now Grosjean is closing on Van Dorn. So is Brendan Hartley right now. As this is pretty much this Van Dorn, Grosjean, Hartley. You've got Gasly now, Sirotkin, Alonso. Van Dorn is holding a solid train right now, but I don't think he really cares. As now Grosjean will get a great run on the first DRS straight. And Grosjean surely will make the move. Does Van Dorn come down the inside? No, he doesn't. Van Dorn, I think, now is starting to struggle for grip as Alonso passes Sergei Sirotkin. Bottas does a new fastest lap. Yeah, we know that Lance Stroll's in 10th, but you have to remember, Sirotkin, is he going to pass Alonso? Nope, Alonso holds him off. Sirotkin's going to give it everything he can, but Alonso gets passed. But you have to remember with Stroll, he has not pitted yet, so once he does pit, he's going to drop to the back of the grid, or the back of the people still finishing. So, yeah, he's in 10th, but it's kind of a fake position right now. Great battling through the field. I have to say, this has been not the best Abu Dhabi Grand Prix ever. 2012 still for me is better than this one. But this, I'd say, goes down as probably the second or third best Abu Dhabi Grand Prix we've had. Very good Grand Prix. And a great way to go out for 2018. And quite a fitting way, I think, to go out for 2018. As here comes Daniel Ricciardo, lap 33 out of 55, to put on super soft tyres. Well, yeah. I don't think they were ever going to go for the hyper softs, but there you go. Super soft tyres, and Daniel Ricciardo is coming out onto 2.2 second pit stop. Red Bull are on fire today in the pits. But Ricciardo now comes out quite far behind in 5th place. And Esteban Ocon is now under investigation for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. And he should be. He completed the move off the track. He should have gave it back. Pretty simple. Right, I'll just show you that great battle between Grosjean, Van Dorn and Ocon. Let me just get it up on the screen for you guys. As what can Ricciardo do then, guys? 20 laps to go. Final race for Red Bull. He is about 10 seconds off of a podium. So what can he do? Can he get the podium? Yes or no? So there you go. Great battle. Actually, hold on. I need to resize it at the top. There you go. Great battle. Van Dorn, Grosjean and Ocon. Two of them aren't on the grid next season. Just shows you how the world of F1 moves around. Just looking at the times and who's in what position. Apex Gaming says he didn't gain an advantage. He clearly did. He completed the move by going off the track. If he didn't go off the track, then he would still be behind Van Dorn, because it was kind of an impossible move to go round the outside of that corner. So, yeah, he did gain an advantage as Gasly passes his good friend Stoffel Van Dorn into the chicane. But I think Van Dorn might come back. Yes, he will come back with Stoffel Van Dorn. Van Dorn is very feisty today. Wants to go out on a high, and here comes Stoffel. Gasly defends early. Van Dorn round the outside, and, well, some speed by the McLaren as Vettel and Bottas for second place. Here comes Vettel. He is now pushing like crazy. Vettel, and Ocon gets a penalty, deservedly so, for gaining an advantage. 5-second penalty. Vettel now round the outside. Second DRS straight. Vettel up to second. Yes. Vettel up to second. Get in. Great battling. And now, can Vettel, with 20 laps to go, close a 7-second gap to Lewis Hamilton? So come on, Vettel. Show us what you got. As Verstappen now is within a second of Bottas. So I think Bottas might be under threat in a minute from Max Verstappen. Don't know what's happened to Bottas, but he has lost a lot of speed. And now Vettel is pulling away quite a lot. Has Bottas' tyres gone off? I don't know. But yeah, Verstappen now should be making a move soon on Bottas. Vettel now quite clearly has. So this is what happened. He made a mistake. He locked up and went off the track. He did that on his way to the grid. Did the same thing. And now Verstappen surely is close enough to get DRS. Fastest lap, Daniel Ricciardo, 1:41.2. The lap record is under threat. Verstappen very close under braking there on Valtteri Bottas. The race is now coming alive. 19 laps to go in 2018, sorry. Verstappen gets a DRS. I don't think he'll go for the move. It's impossible from there. Bottas locks up and goes wide, and Bottas is off the track. I don't think Bottas should give the position back because Verstappen was never going for the move. But now Bottas lifts off a bit to give Verstappen back, the gap. So Bottas just about in third. Bottas is struggling like crazy. I don't know what's happened. Maybe Bottas' tyres are now, off the cliff. I don't know. As Ricciardo, by the way, 2.7 behind this battle. So we are going to get a great end to this season. Can Bottas hang on? By the way, leading is Lewis Hamilton now by 7.6 seconds. If I had to bet right now, I think Hamilton will win this race from Vettel. But don't ask me who's going to finish in third. As Ricciardo all the time taking time out of Verstappen and Bottas. And if Verstappen wants to beat his teammate to a podium, he has to pass Bottas as soon as possible. As Van Dorn has just pitted and has been lapped by Ricciardo. So Van Dorn is now lapped. Will Verstappen have DRS here? I think yes, he does. Verstappen has DRS. By the way, for Peter asking in the chat, we have 18 laps to go. So I don't think Max is close enough right now to go for a move, but he's shaping up for it for sure. Gets the DRS on Bottas. He won't go for it here. No way. Way too far back. And this is the closest battle on the track now. The battle for third place between Bottas and Verstappen, and soon to be Daniel Ricciardo. And Ricciardo, by the way, is 13 seconds behind Hamilton. Ricciardo is taking a lot of time out of Hamilton. We have 18 laps to go, so I don't see them calling team orders, though, to let Ricciardo pass Max. But Ricciardo does have a chance of finishing second, maybe even getting the win, if he can maintain good enough tyre grip until the very end. Nathan, my podium is looking bang on. And this is the replay of Bottas. Locks up going into the first chicane. He should not give the position back. The reason, or give a position up. The reason is because Verstappen was not going for the move. There was no overtaking going on, so he didn't have to give it up. But Verstappen closed up a lot in that braking zone. And now is a lot closer than he was the lap before. Will he go for the move? No, he's trying to make Bottas make a mistake, though, by moving in the braking zone. Very smart by Max. And gets a better run through there. And yes, Max Verstappen now will go for the move. By the way, Carlos Sainz is pitted. He was in 6th and I believe is still in 6th place. But here comes Max Verstappen. Wow, that is a very wide turn in by Max. But is it going to work? Round the outside. Contact between Verstappen and Bottas. The second time this race that Verstappen's made contact with another driver. But I think that was all well and fair. Now Ricciardo is all over the back of Bottas. Where has Valtteri's pace gone? He's nowhere. This is very reminiscent of Brazil. Just no pace at all. So here we go. Yeah, there was quite a big contact there. But for me, that is fine. They were wheel to wheel. And I think Verstappen had the line into the corner. So all good from Max. But now Daniel Ricciardo can now get past Bottas for 4th place. And hopefully for Ricciardo, and he should be getting past very soon. If he wants to get a podium, he has to get past, I think, probably on this lap. Because Verstappen is already pulling away. And Yeah, he's definitely close enough. Valtteri, it seems to me that Valtteri doesn't really have any front tyre grip. As now, Valtteri's going to have to defend from Daniel Ricciardo. He's not going to defend. That's quite poor from Valtteri, I have to say. Let's see if he comes back at him. He might actually be able to. Well, Bottas, we'll have to see. And yes, Bottas will come back at Ricciardo. Will he go round the outside? No, he won't. Ricciardo, too good under braking. And Ricciardo has passed. I have to say, that is quite poor from Bottas. He didn't even try to defend. He didn't even try to hold on to his position. I mean, it was almost like, this is quite a famous, I don't know if it is famous actually, a Martin Brundle quote. It's almost like he had an arrow on his rear wing saying, pass me here. Because, well, that was an open invitation for Daniel Ricciardo. But now, we have, with 15 laps to go in 2018, I'll wait for this replay to end. Verstappen and Bottas, this is, again, for me, this is fine. Verstappen had the line. They were wheel to wheel, hard racing, hard but fair. RD saying, I think what happened in Russia unfortunately broke him. I think Austria broke him. I don't think that did. I think Austria did, because after that he was nowhere near his teammate. But right, I'll post a picture on the screen for you guys of the battle, and then I will read out the order with 15 laps to go in 2018. So let me just get it on the screen. Is this it? Yes, it is. And there you go. Great battling. That's exactly what we want to see in our Formula 1 racing. That's why we're fans of F1. But with 15 laps to go of 2018, this is your order. So Lewis Hamilton leads by 5.7 seconds. So Vettel is now closing in on Hamilton. We could get a fight for the lead very soon. The Mercedes guys are out in the pits for someone. It must be Valtteri Bottas. It is. So Verstappen is third. Ricciardo fourth. Fifth is Bottas, but is pitting. Sixth is Carlos Sainz. Sainz has pitted, so great race from Sainz. And then in seventh is Charles Leclerc. Eighth is Perez. Ninth is Magnussen. I don't think Magnussen has pitted though. 10th is Ocon. 11th is Stroll. I think Stroll is not pitted. And then Grosjean 12th. Gasly 13th. Alonso 14th. Hartley 15th. Van Dorn 16th. Sirotkin 17th. And your retirees, Ericsson, Raikkonen and Hulkenberg. Bottas pits and will come out in a clear 5th place. What tyres is he on? Can't quite see. Hopefully he's not on the super soft, because that's quite boring. I mean, he's not going to lose anything if he goes onto the hyper soft. And he is on the ultra soft, a fresh set of the ultra soft. Right, so he'll set the fastest lap then and probably break the lap record. But the new story now is Hamilton versus Vettel for the win, because Vettel is closing on Hamilton. The gap was, a few laps ago, 7.6, and now it's about 5.8. Hamilton leading, Vettel second. So, yeah, that's what we need to watch out for now, as I think Bottas just went wide down to that chicane. He has had, I'd have to say, the first half of the race, I think, was pretty good. The second half of the race has been shocking. Don't know what's happened, but it has been shocking. As Lewis Hamilton is now going to come up and lap Sebastian Vettel, as Vettel continues to take lap time out of him. Vettel now only 5.2 behind. And Ricciardo taking a lot out of Verstappen. We are going to get a grandstand finish. I'm sure of it. I am absolutely sure of it. Ricciardo should have the pace to get a podium. And Vettel, if he continues at this rate, Vettel should have the pace to win. Legion, it has been shocking. I think you mean. Yes, I do. As, who's this? Verstappen lapping Hartley. Yep, that's Brendan Hartley. But yeah, we're looking now at the Vettel-Hamilton gap. That's the gap to look at. 5.1 seconds with 13 laps to go. I'm just looking at the midfield. There's no real battles in the midfield. It seems as though everyone is kind of spread out. So I think it's going to finish that way, really. I mean, I don't think Magnussen... Lance Stroll, by the way, has pitted and come out in 15th. Magnussen is now pitted. So it's going to finish in the midfield. Sainz in 6th, Leclerc 7th, Perez 8th, Ocon 9th, and then Grosjean 10th, and then Gasly in 11th, with probably Magnussen in 12th. Replay of the pit stop there of Valtteri Bottas. Apparently Crofty's saying, I want a shoey. I think we all want a shoey right now. Right, let me show you another angle of the Verstappen-Bottas contact and also wheel-to-wheel racing. 5 seconds the gap, Hamilton to Vettel. So, here you go. Very close racing, hard but fair. So there you go. But what is going to happen now? What battles do we have to look out for? Ricciardo, he's close enough, I think, from not for a move, but he's close enough where if he starts to, properly get on it, he can get past Verstappen by the end. He's only 2 seconds behind, so if he just gradually takes time out of him, then he should get past by the end. But yeah, Vettel, 12 laps to go, 5 seconds behind. I'm not sure he can do it. He needed to keep on with that pace for the last couple laps, but he hasn't. And by the way, Max Verstappen is also gaining on Vettel. Valtteri Bottas, we're seeing here, he's just lapped a Williams, I believe, of Sergei Sorokin. Yes, it is. But a very lonely race for Valtteri. But guys, in 2 minutes' time, when it is lap 45, I will read out the race order for the final time until the end of the race. So if you want to know the order, then just wait around, because as soon as it goes over to lap 45, I will read out the order for the final time before the checkered flag. But Ricciardo gaining on Verstappen now. Ricciardo only 1.8 behind Max. Come on, come on, come on, Daniel. Let's have a final podium at Red Bull. It could be a final podium for a long time. So come on, let's get a podium for Daniel Ricciardo. There's now traffic ahead for Verstappen to deal with, so maybe he can gain through that. Vettel, I will say Verstappen is gaining a lot on Vettel. I don't know if it's the traffic, but Vettel is now losing quite a lot of time to Verstappen, so we might have a great battle for second pretty soon. But Ricciardo is 1.8 seconds behind Max Verstappen. If he takes out, say, 0.2 a lap from now on, he should get past by the end. But again, he needs to actually do that. We don't know if he will. And by the way, as it stands, as it is showing on the screen, right now, as it stands, Max Verstappen will take 4th in the Drivers' Championship ahead of Valtteri Bottas. I don't think necessarily Max deserves it, because Bottas has been unlucky this season. But there you go. Ricciardo now 1.6 behind. now Verstappen closely following Fernando through, and now Ricciardo. If Ricciardo's smart, he will try to not lap Alonso until... Yes, he is smart. He won't lap Alonso until the DRS. So then he can get DRS boost down the straight, surely. Let's see if he does. Yes, he does. Very smart by Ricciardo. But Alonso needs to let him through, and he's not going to. But at least Ricciardo will gain with DRS. Alonso goes wide. Alonso's got to let Ricciardo through. He does. But that has gained Ricciardo just a couple, extra tenths of a second. But it is now lap 45 out of 55. 10 laps remaining in the 2018 Formula 1 season. And right now, this is the order. So Lewis Hamilton leads by 4.6 seconds to Sebastian Vettel. Third is Max Verstappen. Fourth is Daniel Ricciardo. Fifth is Valtteri Bottas. And then completing the top 10 is Sainz, Leclerc, Perez, Ocon and Grosjean. Force India will finish P7 in the Constructors unless of an absolute... Well, actually, they will finish in P7 in the Constructors. And then 10th is Grosjean. And then finishing the race, but not in the points, is Gasly, Magnussen, Alonso, Hartley, Stroll, Van Dorn and Sirotkin. And your retirees, Ericsson, Raikkonen and Hülkenberg. And by the way, yes, Carlos Sainz is doing very well. He's had a great race, has Carlos Sainz. I'd actually say this has been one of his best of 2018. The one driver, though, if you're going to keep an eye on the midfield, keep an eye on K-Mag. He's on fresh tyres, and now he should have enough grip to challenge Grosjean as smoke coming out the back of that Force India. That's Ocon, I think. Yes, it is. So, that's going to be not good. Yeah, it looks as though Ocon is out of this race. He will add to the retirements of Ericsson, Raikkonen and Hülkenberg. But yeah, he's trailing some smoke for sure. You can see just about a haze coming out of it. I think Ocon... I don't know if he's going to pit or not, but he probably should, because I don't think there's any point continuing for Ocon. Does he come in? Yes, he does. So Esteban Ocon is out of this Grand Prix. Sad end to this season, I have to say. As don't park there, Esteban. Oh, he's going to. That's right on the pit entry, so hopefully no one has to pit. But Esteban Ocon has a sad end to his 2018. And you have to say, it's been a disappointing end to the season because, Mexico, he hit the Toro Rossos. He also, the whole Brazil thing with Verstappen, and now has had this. So, yeah, sad end, but hopefully we'll be back in 2020 in F1. Hamilton is still pulling away from Vettel now, so I think Vettel doesn't have enough grip. Verstappen, though, closing on Vettel. Verstappen is only 2.3 seconds behind. So Verstappen is closing on Vettel. Hamilton looks, for me, set to take another win in 2018. And he deserves it, I think. I think he has, out of the top guys, been maybe not the best, but has been very good, as he normally is. And that's why he's won the championship in 2018. As they're trying to get that car moved out of the way. Are they going to move it? Yes, they are trying to move it now, and he'll get moved out of the way. So Ocon confirmed out of the race, also along with... Oh, we've got another retirement. It's Pierre Gasly. Pierre Gasly's having another issue. He's had issue after issue at this race, and now his engine is about to blow to bits. Gasly's now going to be out. And that's quite sad. Well, that is very sad for Gasly because he's currently 10th. And that'll give Magnussen 11th place. What happened to Magnussen? He's dropped off a lot for some reason. And yeah, Gasly's engine is about to explode. He should park on the side of the road, to be honest. There's no point continuing. And Vettel laps Grosjean there, who is in 9th. Verstappen laps his teammate and laps the Honda engine he'll be using for 2019. And yeah, I don't really know why Gasly's still racing. He's not going to make the end of the race. That's clearly an issue. Gasly is just trying everything. And, oh, don't go to the back of Verstappen. That's the last thing that Max needs, is another back marker to crash into him. Now Gasly, yeah, now he's pulling off. I think he was basically not aware of what was going on in the back of his car, but Pierre Gasly also out of the race. So now your retirees, Gasly, Ocon, Ericsson, Raikkonen, Hülkenberg. Let me just try and find a picture for you guys. I can't find one right now. But yeah, Pierre Gasly is out. And I have to say right now, I don't think the order is really going to change. Say in the top, well, in the entire field, I think it is going to finish this way. There's not enough laps left, I think, for Ricciardo to get ahead of Verstappen unless Max lets Ricciardo through. But yeah, Gasly out, and we have 6 laps to go. We are very close to the end of the season. But yeah, Gasly's been kind of cursed for this weekend. He had a gearbox fire in FP1. His car lost power on the exit of the final corner when trying to get into Q2. And then has had another engine issue. So Gasly's been cursed this weekend. As Gasly now finally gets out of the car. But yeah, that's his race over. The closest battle on track, by the way, is Ricciardo and Verstappen. And also Magnussen and Grosjean. Actually, I think Magnussen and Grosjean is probably the closest battle on track. Yeah, it is. Just about. As Ericsson there out of the race. And Gasly joins him in retirement. But yep, Fernando Alonso is 11th. Alonso needs another retirement to get into the points. He doesn't have the pace to get into the points. He needs someone to have a car failure. Vettel 4.4 behind Hamilton. I don't think I'll be able to go for any move though. I don't think Vettel will get close enough for that. As we're now 5 laps away from the end of the season. And, well, it looks as though it's going to be quite a boring end to the season in terms of the end of this race. This hasn't been a boring race, though. This has been, I think, quite good. I wouldn't say one of the best of the season, but definitely better than races like Canada, Spa, Australia, what else? Russia, I think it's been better than. I'd say it's been better than Singapore, Spain. It's been a very good race and one of the best we've had at this track. Max has dropped off so much on Seb. Yeah, he's now 4 seconds behind. Ricciardo 2.1 behind Max. I don't think Ricciardo is going to get a podium. By the way, Bottas is on ultra soft tyres, but he's not gaining on the Red Bulls. That just shows you that Bottas has no pace at all. And if he continues like this in 2019, he will be out of Mercedes for 2020, no doubt. But let's see what he does when he's re-energised, for sure, for the new season. But yeah, there's no real battles going on out on the track. We're just waiting for this race to finish, essentially. Ricciardo is not really gaining on Verstappen. Perez is only 2.2 seconds, behind Leclerc, but he's not really closing. Lance Stroll is 1.5 seconds behind Hartley for 12th. But yeah, not really any real battles out on the track. We're essentially, again, waiting for this race to finish. The top four, though, were then on the same straight. So it's not a dominant win for Hamilton, but they have just had too much pace for the likes of Vettel, Ricciardo, Verstappen, and for Lewis Hamilton, he has had more pace than Bottas. As now they come through the top four into the final sector. By the way, Bottas is actually, not only is he not gaining time, he's actually losing time to the top four. Very poor pace right now. John Huebner, bring on winter testing and the new livery. Yeah, I am now pretty excited for 2019. Yes, it's sad that Alonso is not going to be on the grid, and you know, same for Ocon and who else? Ericsson and Van Dorn. But I think 2019 will be a good season. 2018 has been good, no doubt about it. And if 2019 can be better with the racing, then yeah, F1 is going in a good direction. Goodbye to Scuderia D. Thank you as well, all of you, for joining me on these race watch-alongs ever since I started it at the German Grand Prix. That was the first time I did watch-alongs, not only for the race but qualifying. I was so nervous to do them because I didn't really know how it would go, but it has gone very well. And I know, you know, there's not a ton of viewers, still a lot, 100 people watching live. And I thank every single one of you for watching. But I just want to say, for the watch-alongs, thank you guys for coming along, enjoying the races, and, well, having fun. Thank you very much. And again, for 2019, we will be doing this as well. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Either hit bottom right of the screen, you can subscribe there, or click on my channel name, go to my channel page and subscribe to the channel for even more watch-alongs in 2019. As now, Perez 1.1 behind Leclerc, so we will have a battle, I think, for P7 here. If Perez can keep this pace. Halam says this race is a solid 7 out of 10. Yeah, I'd say a 7 or maybe a 6. Has had its dull moments, but there has been exciting moments. But yeah, 6 or 7, I'd say. See you, Chaz. Yep, see you later. That's 2. And there's Ericsson. Let me just look through the chat a minute. Whilst there's, again, no real battles going on, as we're now 3 full, or about 2.5 actually, laps away from the end of the season. As well, for the watch-alongs next season, I don't know, I think I've already said this before, from Bahrain onwards in 2019, it will not just be me for the race watch-alongs, it'll be me and Niblo for the race watch-alongs from the 2019 Bahrain Grand Prix onwards. So, yeah, plenty of stuff coming for 2019, don't worry. As, how far behind is Perez or Leclerc? It looks about 1.1 or 1.2 seconds right now. Perez, he just isn't close enough. I don't think, to be able to get DRS. This is Alonso locking up, going into one of the chicanes, and goes off the track. So would have gained a bit of time doing that. As we cut back from the replay though, does Perez have DRS? No, he does not. That's unfortunate because that could be our final wheel-to-wheel battle of the season. But we are now on lap 54 out of 55. Very, very close to the end of this race and the end of this season. As is Perez? No, he still doesn't have DRS. I don't think Perez will get the DRS, and I don't think he will get passed. And I think, you know, I think Leclerc does deserve to finish in P7. But guys, I was right about my one to watch. I said Sergio Perez, and look where Perez is. 8th place and almost finishing in 7th. And I was right. I knew that Perez would be strong in this race. Hello to Dexter Hall. I will read out the order in about 2 to 2.5 minutes time because we are quite close to the final lap of this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. So once the race ends, I will read out the entire order and your retirees. Time penalty for Fernando Alonso for going off the track and gaining an advantage. As we are now on our final lap of 2018. Hamilton already through turn 1. The final time he'll get to drive this, well, what has been a brilliant car in the final half of the season. As Vettel does a new fastest lap. Is that the lap record? I don't know. It's a 40.8. I don't think it is the lap record. I think he's very close to it though. But Hamilton is now about half a lap away from another win in 2018. He has been the best driver this season in my opinion. And Niblo just saying, note 2/10 off or so close. Maybe Vettel can do on this final lap to get that fastest lap. But yeah, he has been, for me, the best driver this season. And is deservedly going to take a World Championship. And I think deserves this race win. As he now comes into the final sector. And Vettel is closing, but he's not going to pass him. As Lewis Hamilton now has 4 corners left. Comes through the double left apex corners. And now comes up to the penultimate corner. And through the last corner. And Lewis Hamilton wins the final race of 2018. And Sebastian Vettel finishes in second. A great race, I think, to end this 2018 season. Lewis Hamilton wins the final race. Max Verstappen finishes in third. Daniel Ricciardo, final race for Red Bull, finishes in fourth. A good race by Ricciardo, but could not get the podium. Fifth will be Valtteri Bottas. Sixth will be Carlos Sainz. Seventh will be Charles Leclerc. Eighth, Sergio Perez. I think Perez is quite close though. I don't know where Perez is on the track. I don't think Perez will get past, but yeah, Leclerc 7th, Perez 8th, Grosjean 9th, Magnussen 10th. Then not finishing the points, but finishing the race is Fernando Alonso. I've just cut away from it, which is annoying. Alonso, Hartley, Stroll, Van Dorn and Sirotkin, and your retirees for the final race in 2018 is Pierre Gasly, Esteban Ocon, Marcus Ericsson, Kimi Raikkonen, and Nico Hülkenberg. So there you go. There is the final race of the season. So, what did you guys think of that race? And by the way, just to let you guys know, if you are unfamiliar with the format of these race watch-alongs, what I'm now going to do is stay on for another, I'd say 45 minutes to an hour and react to what happened in the race. As soon as I find the complete race order, I'll throw it up on the screen so you guys know the finishing order, as all the drivers now basically doing their donuts at the end of the season. These cars will now be put away and never really used again. But yeah, I'll be on for another 45 minutes to an hour after the race finishes to react to what has happened. So stay around, have your opinion, share your thoughts in the chat, and we'll have, if you want, a bit of a debate and a bit of a chat for the next 3/4 of an hour to an hour. And by the way, as well, I'll ask you guys in a minute who your driver of the day is. Let me just throw up on screen to show you guys the podium finishing order. And by the way, guys, don't forget, I will be doing a full race review tomorrow night at 6 PM UK time for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. So don't forget to come along to that. The final race review of the season and of the year. So there you go. Hamilton wins, Vettel is second, and Max Verstappen finishes in 3rd place. I don't think Verstappen has done enough to finish 3rd in the Drivers' Championship. I think Verstappen missed out by 2 points. So very close, but not getting that, that 3rd in the Drivers' Championship. So guys, as they all talk back into the pits, who is your driver of the day? Everyone who is watching right now, the 100 people watching right now, who is your driver of the day for the final race, the 2018 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix? Put in the chat right now, and I will read out as many as I can before we start this race reaction, as Hamilton, Alonso, Vettel, all now, I think, going to do absolute tons of donuts. And yes, they are on the starting grid. Hopefully they don't make contact with each other. That would be quite embarrassing, but there you go. Right, so let's see. So again, so the people watching right now, put in your driver of the day, and I'll read out as many as I can. As Hamilton, Alonso and Vettel, I think, finished their donuts on the grid. And by the way, the driver of the day, no real surprise, is Fernando Alonso. We all know why he got the driver of the day. That's the official driver of the day, but we all know why he did, because it's his last race. It was inevitable. But yeah, there you go. Fernando Alonso, driver of the day. But second driver of the day, Ricardo. Andrew Jury says Bottas, lol. But Andrews Ericsson says Carlos Sainz. Legion says Sorokin. So yeah, put your driver of the day in, guys, and I'll read out as many as I can, and then soon enough we will go into the race reaction straight away. As soon as I get the finishing order up, I will get it up. As Alonso, final race, driver of the day, and that is most likely the final race of Fernando's career in F1. And even if you don't like Fernando's comments and you think he gets a bit too aggressive and a bit, he can be sometimes a bit of a dick, in terms of driving, you cannot doubt the guy's talent. You cannot doubt his talent. He is one of the most talented and special racing drivers there has ever been in this sport. He definitely deserved more than 2 World Championships. That season in 2012, wow, what season. That is one of the best seasons of his career, probably his best. and one of the best seasons I've seen from a driver in, well, since I started watching F1, and probably in the 21st century as well. It was so, so good from Fernando. And as Ross Brawn said, I think yesterday, Fernando would win races he shouldn't win. And that pretty much describes Fernando Alonso. He was that good. There were plenty of races where he wasn't in a car that was quick enough to win a race. He'd still win it because he is Fernando Alonso. So, hopefully, he has a good racing career after his F1 career. Of course, he still has WEC, which he'll be doing. He has the Indy 500 next year. That's the same day as the Monaco Grand Prix. And then, after that, well, who knows? But hopefully he does complete the Triple Crown, because I think for his talent and how good of a driver he is, he does deserve to achieve that Triple Crown. So farewell to Fernando. But here you go. There is your official race classification. So Lewis Hamilton wins the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Vettel is second. Verstappen is third. Ricciardo fourth. Bottas fifth. Sainz is sixth. Leclerc seventh. Perez eighth. Grosjean ninth. Magnussen is 10th. And then not finishing in the points but finishing the race, Fernando Alonso, Brendan Hartley, Lance Stroll, Stoffel Van Dorn, Sergei Sorokin, and your retirees, Pierre Gasly, Esteban Ocon, Marcus Ericsson, Kimi Raikkonen, and Nico Hulkenberg. Me Too on Tube asks, what happened to Bottas? I missed everything. Bottas was doing well. He was running up in second for a long time. But then his tyres went off the cliff. He got passed by Vettel, Verstappen and Ricciardo, then pitted for an extra time and finished miles off in 5th place. But yeah. Gracias Alonso. That's my Ultraman Nexus. Viva Alonso. Yeah, it is sad to see him go, but eventually that day must come for all of the drivers. But, right, I think now, guys, I am going to start the race reaction. Now, what I'm going to do, this will be on the screen until the very end of this video, and then I'll come off. But what I'm going to do is go through all the teams one by one, and then again I'll do my driver of the day just to make sure I get everyone's read out in this video, and then I will end this race watch along. So first off, let's start with Mercedes. Lewis Hamilton, I have to say his race wasn't comfortable. He did have to maintain good speed. He pitted very early under virtual safety car conditions because of Kimi Raikkonen's broken down car. At the time, I didn't think that was going to work out, but it just about did. But yeah, Lewis Hamilton, I think, did deserve to win this race. But for Valtteri Bottas, P5. Now, you wouldn't think the first half of his race was good, but it was. He had a good first half of the race. But then, all of a sudden, after that lock-up at the, I think was it turn 6 and 7 chicane, his tyres completely went off and pitted again, got passed by Vettel, Verstappen and Ricciardo, and had a poor end to his season. Now, I know you guys will be saying, Valtteri Bottas is not good enough, he should be dropped. You have to remember he has been unlucky in 2018. He should have had at least 2 race wins this season, but it wasn't to be because of things that he can't control. So, yes, the last half of this season hasn't quite been good enough, but I think he has been mentally damaged by what happened in the first half of the season. But for Mercedes, a good end to their season, another race win. And in 2018, a perfect season. The drivers and constructors once again wrapped up. So guys, what do you think about Mercedes? About their performance and about Hamilton and about Valtteri Bottas? Make sure you put in the comments your reaction to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. So let's take a look. Astro Steve, I think it is. Surprised they didn't arrange a win for Bottas. This year Hamilton 11 wins and Bottas none. I think they may have gone for that. Yeah, they may have gone for that if Bottas didn't drop off the pace, but Bottas's tyres went off the cliff. And then, I mean, how is Hamilton going to give him a win after that happens? I think that might have happened, but if Bottas has saved his tyres better, then maybe he would have got to the end without having to pit for a second time. Bottas is brilliant when he's on point. Yep, I agree with that. Dexter Hall seems Mercedes had the pace. In this race they did. Francisco, I think Bottas is not good enough. Let's wait until 2019. I think he has done enough for a seat in 2019 based on the first half of the season. And I know the second half of the season hasn't been great, but he has had good races. Russia, he basically won the Russian Grand Prix. Suzuka, that was a good race. Qualified second, finished in second. So, yeah, I think he has earned and done enough for a seat in 2019. But if he does this for the whole of 2019, he does not deserve a seat in 2020. Bottas, this is from Han Solo. Bottas does not have the mentality to be a top driver. He is too weak in my opinion. I agree. He isn't mentally strong enough to be a top driver. He's not a top driver. For me, he is like a tier below the top drivers. And the top drivers for me are your Hamiltons, Vettels, Verstappens. We can say Alonso because, you know, he's still around just for now. Even I'd say Ricciardo. Ricciardo has a lot stronger mentality. Kimi Raikkonen. Bottas does not have the... he doesn't have the mentality to win a championship, and he never will. Apart from Russia, every race since Spa has been poor. Again, Suzuka wasn't. He finished second. That was a good race. Will F1 Bottas was average in Japan. The car was so dominant. Well, look at this race. The car was about as quick as it was at Suzuka this race. And he didn't, at Suzuka, drop down to 5th. So I disagree. I think he was good at that Grand Prix. Botti Gamer, Bottas does not deserve the 2020 seat regardless of what he does next year. I disagree with that. You can't disregard an entire season. You have to look at what they do season by season. You can't just disregard it now. Will F1, Bottas was good in Germany. Yep, he was. He was. And Hungary as well. I thought he did a good race, considering the Mercedes car was not the fastest at that race. E7 Suspect. If Russell is amazing in the Williams next season, what will Mercedes do with Ocon, Russell and Bottas? If Bottas has races like this next season, but for, say, most of the season, then Bottas will be dropped. And if Russell is amazing, then I think Russell should get that seat. Because I don't think Ocon, yes, he is good. I do like Ocon a lot. But I don't think Ocon in his F1 career so far has done enough to earn a Mercedes seat. Astro Stevo, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Bottas was best in Baku and Russia. He was good in Baku, but I think people forget that Lewis Hamilton outqualified him and was ahead of him for the first half of that race. So he was good, but he wasn't as good as he was, I think, in like Bahrain or China. Races like that. Let me just look through the chat to find some more comments about Bottas. Jeffrey Guyot. Bottas isn't good enough, and I fear Ocon may be the same. We'll have to see about Ocon, but I think Ocon is better than Bottas, but I don't think it's a massive gap. Daniel says hello. Hello to you. Right the first time with pronouncing Stevo. Okay, I'll make sure to pronounce it that way then. Let me just look through to make sure I haven't missed any. Don't think I have. No, I haven't. Don't think I have. Right, so I'll move on from Mercedes, and now we'll go on to Ferrari. For Sebastian Vettel, I think he had, I wouldn't say a good race. It was an alright race. He got past Bottas, but Bottas's tyres went off the cliff, so it was inevitable. But still, very good overtake to get past. And did have an alright race, but nothing special. Definitely not near his best races of his season. Kimi Raikkonen, though, quite sad. Final race for Ferrari, and it ends in disappointment and retirement only about 5 laps into this race. Final race for Ferrari. I thought the race result was, considering one car finished, okay, decent, but not, nothing special. It could have been better, I think, this weekend from Ferrari as they end 2018 disappointed. And you guys might say, oh, well, Ferrari have had a faster car this year, so maybe they should be more happy. But at the end of the day, they had, over the course of the season, the best car. Not by miles, but they did have, over the 21 races, the best car. And they blew it. So hopefully for 2019, when Charles Leclerc gets into that team, they can improve their strategy, their car development, and Sebastian Vettel can improve his mental strength for the new season. So guys, what did you think of Ferrari at this race? Were they good for you? Were they about what you thought they'd be? Not that good? What did you think of Ferrari at this race? Right, let's take a look. Astro Stevo, lackluster race again from Vettel. I wouldn't say lackluster, but not, I wouldn't call it good. I wouldn't call it a good race. It was an okay race. It was okay. Nothing special. Spectra, how good? Russell then? I think George Russell is a good driver, and I think maybe we'll have to see next season, but I think maybe is better than Ocon. Again, we'll have to see next season, but don't doubt Russell. He is very talented. Will F1 Ferrari never go well at Abu Dhabi? Yeah, in terms of race wins, yeah, I see your point. But just looking at some more comments here. Astro Steve, he's saying, sorry, I'm just trying to get my fucking words out. Sorry for swearing as well. This year has killed Vettel's reputation, I reckon. Yes, I think it has. I think it has. I wouldn't say, actually, no, I wouldn't say killed it, but it has damaged his reputation a lot. By the way, sorry for swearing, but my throat is quite sore at the moment, so just bear with me. This season is just mediocre. That's from Kang Zai T. Yeah, I disagree with that. I don't think this season has been mediocre at all. I think it's been a good season. Depends who you support, though, to be honest. Anders Ericsson, Ferrari equals bad year. Sorry to say. You don't need to be sorry to say it. It's your opinion. And I think it's the truth. It's been a bad year they've had. Again, over the course of the 21 races, the best car, and they blew it. Lol, first swear I've heard of you. Yeah, well, hopefully you don't hear any more. Francisco, so sad for Kimi. I am sad, but I'm not massively sad. At least he got his race win at the US Grand Prix. At least he got that. First half of the season was great. That's from Raghav Gupta. I think the whole season's been mostly good. There was a point around Spain up until about the French Grand Prix where the racing wasn't that good. But after, not Silverstone, after Austria, the racing was, I think, pretty good. And Jeffrey Guyot says, this is the best year since 2012. And I agree. I think this is the best season we've had since 2012. So, you know, has it been as bad as maybe some of you think? This season has been very good. That's from Dexter Hall. Right, I think I'll move on from Ferrari. So we'll go on to Red Bull. For Max Verstappen, shocking start. I don't know what happened. I'll have to see a replay, but a shocking start to the race. He tried to get past, you know, the Force Indias. He made it a bit tough for himself to get past Esteban Ocon, barging him out of the way. We had a great battle between those two. Great to see a part 2 to that controversy, I guess. But, yeah, got his way past. And then, I think, yes, he did undercut Daniel Ricciardo. And then ended up in third. He did have, at times, the pace to be ahead of Vettel, but just was too far behind. The start of the race really did cost Max, but I think a good final race. And Daniel Ricciardo had also a good final race. He started P5, got passed by Charles Leclerc, which was quite surprising. But then Leclerc pitted and Ricciardo got past and obviously sped away from him because the Red Bull is so much faster. Ricciardo then was out on track for a very, very long time. Then pitted with about 20 laps to go. And he did pass Bottas, but Bottas was always there to be passed. He couldn't get up to the back of Max Verstappen and finished in P4. But I have to say, a good final couple of races to his Red Bull career, because Brazil was also good. So, good end to Ricciardo's Red Bull career. And a good end to Red Bull's 2018. But, guys, what do you think about Red Bull's race? What did you think about Verstappen, his battling with Ocon? Bottas as well, with a touch with Bottas. What did you think about Daniel Ricciardo? What did you think of their race? James Eric, Verstappen was a bit aggressive in the race. He just made contact every time he tried to overtake. Yes, he did. He did. Ocon, that contact, I think, was a bit rude, but I think, yeah, just about okay. And the Bottas contact was fine. Verstappen was alongside and he had the line into the next corner. So Verstappen was absolutely fine in what he did. Danny Rick led a lot of the race. Amazed the car lasted. Yeah, I am as well. And wish he'd been on the podium. Yeah, I did. I was a bit surprised that Red Bull didn't at least try to get Verstappen to move up the way for Ricciardo, but there you go. Gina, Max has really improved after the summer. He looks more and more like a champion. Yeah, I think he has improved and learnt from those early season mistakes. I know people will say, oh, he's too mad and he won't win a championship. If this guy gets in the right car, he is going to be a scary prospect. He's very, very good. He's only 21 and He's getting podium after podium and has, what, 5 race wins? This guy could do a lot in his career. Andrew Jury, can't believe it's over. Australia and Bahrain feel like they were just last week. Yeah, it has flown by. But I think that's a sign that this season has been good. That the season has flown by. Anders Ericsson, Red Bull, best all-around car, just need some more power. It is the best car, chassis-wise. They have by far the best chassis on the grid. If they had a Ferrari or Mercedes power unit, then the championship probably would have been won by Max Verstappen. But there you go. Obviously, they don't have a Mercedes or Ferrari power unit. But next year, have a Honda, and hopefully that can power them towards the front of the grid. Falling out EMS. Verstappen was great again. If he had this form in a Ferrari or Mercedes this year, he would have been fighting for P1 in the championship. I'm tempted to say that Verstappen this season has been better than Vettel because, yes, Verstappen made a lot of mistakes in the first 6 races, but look at Vettel since the German Grand Prix. How many good races has he really had? He had Mexico, that was a good race. Spa, where he won, but after that, he hasn't had any properly good races. Max, ever since Canada, has had plenty of good races, such as Canada, Austria, what else? Monza, I thought was a good race, even though he got the penalty. Singapore, Russia, Japan, USA, Mexico, Brazil. This race, Verstappen has had a lot of good races. And I think Verstappen has been better than Vettel this season. I do. Goodbye to Nathan. Thank you as well, mate, for joining me on these watch-alongs in 2018. JB, first half of the race was great, then the second half was meh. I thought the second half of the race was actually... I think the second half of the race was probably just as good, if not better, than the first half. So I disagree, but it was a good race. Will F1, Russia was quite good for Vettel considering Mercedes were dominant. So third was the best he could do. I wouldn't say Russia was good because at the end of the day, he did get past Hamilton in the pit stops and then immediately lost the position because he made a slight mistake a couple corners before that pit straight and then got passed. So I wouldn't call that a good race. It was decent or okay, but I wouldn't call it a good one for Vettel. Jeffrey Guyot, Max never had... Max had newer power units and fewer races. Best Abu Dhabi Grand Prix since 2012. Doesn't say much though. Yeah. Just seen a replay of a Max Verstappen on Sky F1. I think just got a poor start from his grid position in terms of, I think, just didn't have the grip off the line. Of course, starting on the dirty side of the grid. Francisco, Abu Dhabi seems to be decent every 2 years. 2010, 2012, 2014, 2016 and 2018. True. So that means that probably for 2019 we can forget about any good racing. But we'll move on, I think, from Red Bull and now go on to the midfield. So, McLaren didn't have that bad of a race actually. Fernando Alonso finished just outside of the points. Good race from Fernando. He's one driver of the day for obvious reasons. But yeah, good race I think from Fernando. For Stoffel, I think a good race as well. Battled very hard, tried to maintain his position, but eventually the faster guys got past. So a good fighting final race for McLaren, but at the end of the day, this has been one of McLaren's worst seasons, in their history. Yes, they finished P6 in the Constructors, but they basically finished there because of the first 6 races. After Monaco, they have been one of the worst on the grid. They've been terrible. So, very poor season for McLaren. Hopefully, it can improve for 2019. I don't think it will, but hopefully it can. But guys, what did you think about Alonso's race and Van Dorn battling hard to try and hold off the faster cars? JB, did you hear Alonso had 15-second time penalty for cutting the track? It wasn't 15 seconds, it was 5. It was a 5-second time penalty. Astro, Stevo, don't think Alonso gives a damn. Will F1 Alonso 5th best driver this season? I don't think I can quite say that because we don't know just how good he was because the McLaren was so bad this season. Do you think Honda can win next year? I think they will win a race with Red Bull. I don't know where though. We'll have to see. Sorry, my throat is absolutely sore as hell. Alonso did well, according to Francisco. They said after the race that that Alonso had 15 seconds worth of penalties for cutting the track. I don't think he did. On the screen, I'm pretty sure it said 5 seconds, and I don't remember ever seeing it being added on. So, they might be wrong, whoever said that. Christopher Gray. Red Bull should have pitted Daniel earlier to get him closer to the pack. Yeah, I think they should have pitted him 5 to 10 laps earlier. I would have pitted him around lap 25 and then give him 30 laps to go for it and try and get onto the podium. But yeah, they decided against that. Just looking at some more comments about Alonso through the chat. I don't think I can see any other comments. So I think I'll move on to Renault. Carlos Sainz. Wow, what a race from Carlos Sainz. Renault did have good race pace, but I don't think their race pace was that good. But Sainz was one of the best drivers out there today. He wasn't, if you look at the race order, see there, quite far ahead of Charles Leclerc. And I know Leclerc pitted early on and Sainz had fresher tyres at the end, but 18 seconds, that is a lot to finish ahead of the Sauber of Charles Leclerc, which was faster in qualifying and the early stages of the race. So Carlos Sainz was one of the best drivers today, no doubt about that. But for Nico Hülkenberg, very scary end to his season. Battling Romain Grosjean going into the chicane at the end of the first DRS straight. And then Grosjean trying to hold off Hülkenberg. Hülkenberg got, I'd say, pretty much half of his car ahead. And Grosjean hit Hülkenberg in the second part of the chicane. And then Hülkenberg flipped over, hit the barriers, car set on fire. But thankfully, the car was flipped over. And Hülkenberg is absolutely fine. Great to see. And just shows you how safe these cars are. But a good final race for Renault with Carlos Sainz in 6th. And I have to say, deservedly, Renault confirmed now finishing 4th in the Constructors' Championship. And they do deserve it. They haven't had the pace, but they have, in a similar way to Mercedes, been very good at getting results on race day. But guys, what did you think about Renault? What did you think about their race? What did you think about Sainz and the Hülkenberg crash? And I want to know, who do you think was at fault for the Hülkenberg and Grosjean crash? I am still going to say Romain Grosjean. Hülkenberg had enough of his car ahead to deserve space, and Grosjean just put out the inside. I don't think Grosjean deliberately tried to do it, as Botty Gamer is saying in the chat, but yeah, I think definitely Grosjean's fault. JB says Hulkenberg, but racing incident. For me, it's not Hulkenberg's fault at all. I don't see it as his fault at all, in my opinion. Racing incident. Grosjean had nowhere to go. Well, he could have lifted. You know, there is a brake pedal as well. Hulkenberg had half of his car ahead. He deserved space. Grosjean should have lifted out or braked and just, you know, settle in for the race. I don't understand what Grosjean was trying to achieve by staying up the inside. He was not going to make the move into that corner. Hulkenberg was clearly ahead. JB says Hulkenberg didn't give Grosjean much space, but no penalty deserved. I don't think Hulkenberg really had to. Hulkenberg had his car mostly ahead. It was Grosjean, again, who caused the contact. Grosjean was never going to realistically pass or repass Hulkenberg into that corner. We're seeing a replay now on Sky F1. Hulkenberg is clearly ahead. Grosjean is not going to make the move up the inside. And flips Hulkenberg. For me, clearly Grosjean is at fault. Hulkenberg was aggressive, but Grosjean mostly at fault. Hulkenberg was aggressive, but, well, it's fine being aggressive like Max was with Ocon and Bottas, but what Grosjean did is just stupidity. Again, you're not going to make the move into that corner. Just lift off, brake, and wait. You know, there's plenty of laps left to get him back. Just looking. Ronan Brady, great to see him back. He says... I think that was a stupid move by Grosjean. Francisco says, by your description, it's 50-50. No, it's not 50-50. I'm not at all saying it's 50-50. Hulkenberg was aggressive, but at the end of the day, I don't think Hulkenberg really did anything wrong. Grosjean was, for me, at fault. No doubt about it. Did you think Ocon deserved the penalty? I don't. I think Ocon did deserve the penalty because he completed the move off the track. We'll get on to... Actually, you know what? We'll go on to Force India now. So, Sergio Perez, good race from 14th up to 8th place. He was my one to watch, and I got that right, thankfully. But yeah, good race up to 8th place. And I think... Sergio had a pretty good end to the season. Nothing special, but a pretty good end to the season. But for Esteban Ocon, he did have quite an action-packed race. First off, getting bashed out the way by Verstappen. Again, a bit rude by Max, but I think it was just about okay. It's a great battling between Ocon and Verstappen, and then Ocon then pitted after getting passed by Perez and then Carlos Sainz. Some good battling there, and then Ocon pitted, came out and had to fight his way through the field. Great battle of Grosjean and Van Dorn. Ocon did well to get past Grosjean, but then passed Van Dorn off the track. It was a great battle, by the way, but Ocon illegally passed Stoffel Van Dorn off the track and deserved the penalty. Clearly. If he didn't go off the track, he wouldn't have made the move. Simple as that. So, I think Ocon did deserve that penalty. But for Force India, I think a good final race. They have secured P7 in the Constructors. And hopefully for next season, because I think you can tell that they have given up development-wise on this car. Hopefully they can have a good 2019. I think they can. I think Force India definitely is a team to watch out for in 2019. But what did you guys think of what happened for the Force India team? And most likely this might be their final race as Force India. Right, let's take a look. at the chat. Ocon, this is Ronan Brady. Ocon did deserve it. He is so overrated, but deserves a seat. He does deserve a seat. I don't think he is overrated. Actually, you know what? I think he is slightly overrated at the minute. But I think the last 3 races have shown us something different and a different side to Ocon I didn't know was there before. And that's not a good thing. Jeffrey Guyot. Hulkenberg went into the previous corner too hot and out of position. Then he failed to leave enough room. What Hulkenberg did was he passed Grosjean down the inside. He pretty much got the overtake done, had half of his car ahead, and took the corner because Hulkenberg is clearly ahead and should be allowed to hit the corner, and Grosjean caused the crash. Grosjean was not going to achieve a single thing by going up the inside of Hulkenberg. Grosjean was at fault. Ronan Brady, I heard someone compare Ocon to Verstappen. I don't need to comment further. This might be controversial for some people out there, but I don't think Ocon right now is anywhere near Max Verstappen. I don't see it because in the last 2 seasons, Ocon has finished behind Perez, and if you actually look at the results, I think Perez has just about deserved to finish ahead of Ocon in both seasons. If you're saying Ocon is better than Verstappen, then also you have to say Sergio Perez is better than Verstappen. And you're not going to say that, are you? So, yeah, I don't see how Ocon is right now up there with Verstappen. I don't think, there's a massive gap between them. But Verstappen is clearly better. No doubt about it. Han Solo. Ocon screwed up these last 2 races. He did not do himself any favours, and that's why I think he won't get the seat in 2020 at Mercedes. Because the last thing we're going to remember is crashes and controversy, not what he is, say, noted for, which is being a very good racing driver. Ronan Brady says, indeed, Verstappen is much better. I agree. And I don't know, I've kind of had a change of heart about Ocon ever since that Brazil crash, because I get the feeling that a top driver would never do such a thing. And if Ocon is talent-wise and speed-wise a top driver, then I don't think a top driver would ever do such a thing like he did in Brazil. And also, again, if he can't beat Perez, then how can you compare him to your Hamiltons, your Vettels and your Verstappens? I don't think you can. Dexter Hull, if Ocon and Verstappen is in the same car, Ocon would win. I disagree. I don't think Ocon would. I think Verstappen would beat Ocon pretty comfortably. There'd be races where Ocon would beat Verstappen, but I think Verstappen is just too good. Astro Stevo, Verline deserves an F1 seat too. Yep, I agree. But we'll move on from that and go on to Williams. A decent final race, 13th and 15th, but Williams now have to concentrate on 2019 and please design a better car. Not this absolute dog of a car that you've produced for 2018. Please, Williams, turn up to next season a lot more ready than you were for 2018. But we'll move on from them and go on to Toro Rosso. I think they had a good race with Pierre Gasly. Started 17th, was in the points and I think deserved to get a points finish and was unlucky with the Honda power unit failing him in the remaining laps. Brendan Hartley finished in 12th. An okay race for Brendan, but I think ultimately he hasn't done enough this season to earn himself a seat at Toro Rosso for 2019. So Hartley, I think, will be leaving the team. Gasly, of course, is going to Red Bull. So it'll probably be Kvyat and Alexander Albon at Toro Rosso in 2019. But guys, what did you think of Toro Rosso? Very quickly, What do you think of Gasly? The Honda engine failure. What did you think of their race? Let me take a look to see if you guys are saying. Dexter Hall, Chazza, you love Verstappen and he can do no wrong for you. If you honestly think that, then go back to my old channel and look at videos where I've criticised Verstappen quite harshly. Monaco, the crash there, the Baku crash, the China crashes. I did a video in 2017 where I ripped him apart a bit for crashing with Felipe Massa at Monza in 2017. So, no, I am not biased towards Max Verstappen. I do like Verstappen. I like Ocon as well. I really like Ocon, but I'm being honest. I don't see how Ocon is anywhere near, right now, Max Verstappen. I don't see it. Astro Stevo, I'd love to see Williams back at the front. Love to see McLaren at the pointy end of the grid. That's a good way of putting it. And capable of winning races and titles again even more. As long as Williams and McLaren improve, then at least that's something. But I don't think pace-wise they're going to improve for 2019. Imagine Hartley and Kvyat together. Toro Rosso will score like 10 points next season. Yeah, they need someone in there they know has enough pace. And I think Albon has proven in F2 this season that he does have enough pace, I think, and enough quality to be in F1. He has proven himself quite well in Formula 2. Astro Stevo, think Hartley did enough to save his seat or not? I don't think he has. Ronan Brady, really don't see why Kvyat is coming back. Useless, just look at his record. I think he deserves to be in F1. I think talent-wise he is better than drivers such as Hartley, Stroll, Sirotkin, Ericsson. So I think he deserves to be on the grid. Hopefully he has learned a couple of lessons though during this year. So he can use that in a positive way for next year. Will F1, who will come last next year? McLaren, Toro Rosso or Williams? For me, Williams. I don't see Williams improving because they're going to lose Martini as a sponsor. That is vital for them. And the Stroll family are now completely pulling their money out of the team. So they're going to lose a lot of cash. Probably lose more than gain. So I don't see Williams finishing higher than last in the Constructors. Rather see Kvyat than Bottas, honestly. Ronan Brady, do you think Kubica will beat Russell? I don't think he will. I want to see, though, how quick Kubica is, but I don't think he will. I think Russell will be the better driver. But I think we'll move on from Toro Rosso, go on to Haas. I think we've said enough about Romain Grosjean. His race wasn't that good. You know, he did, I guess, well enough to get into the points, but it could have been a better race. I think he took too long to get past Stoffel Van Dorn. So, yeah, it could have been better. For Kevin Magnussen, finishing 10th, he hasn't really had that great of a weekend. So, I guess that is the best he could do. Haas end 2018 on a small high after what has been a good season. Even though they haven't finished 4th and they kind of should have finished 4th. Considering they had the 4th fastest car this season. They should have finished 4th, but they are... they have had a good season. So, well done to Haas. Jumping from, I believe, 8th in the Constructors up to 5th. Very good season for Haas. What did you guys think of Haas's race? Let me look. Ronan Brady, I think you are fair about Verstappen, by the way. I am. I know there's plenty of people out there that think I am biased to Verstappen. I'm not. And if you go back to my old channel, you'll see plenty of videos where I have criticised Max quite a lot for silly crashes and silly mistakes. So, yeah. Right. Will F1 says Haas had a decent season, but today they were a bit disappointing. I wouldn't say decent. I think they've had a very good season. You have to remember, this is their third season, only their third season in F1, and they're up in 5th in the Constructors, competing with manufacturer teams such as Renault. That's very impressive for Haas. Ronan Brady says good year for them. Astro Stevo, commenting about Daniel Ricciardo, says Red Bull has messed Danny Rick around so much and clearly favours Verstappen. Can't blame Danny Rick for wanting out of there. Hope Renault can deliver. A bold gamble, but Daniel Ricciardo is good at those. Hope it works. I hope it works. I don't think it's wrong for Red Bull to make Max their number one, because you can clearly see the talent and the speed the guy has. I still think there were better options out there than Pierre Gasly. I think they should have put Carlos Sainz in the car, but they decided to put Gasly in. But, yeah, we'll see in 2019 what Gasly does. But I can't blame Red Bull for making Verstappen their number one. Ronan Brady, I think they should have dropped Grosjean. I don't think they should have. I think Grosjean has done just about enough for this season. I think he has done just enough. But if next season he has a similar season, but with, say, a couple more really silly mistakes, then I think Haas need to look at a replacement. True, but they should have pushed Renault more, but 5th for a third year in the sport is still impressive. You pretty much made the point that that I kind of made. Yes, it is a bit disappointing they didn't finish in 4th because they did have a faster car, but again, third year in the sport, 5th place. Come on, that is very impressive. Ronan Brady, however, I would have put Leclerc in the Haas, so you would have kept Kimi at Ferrari. I think it was the right time to put Leclerc into the not the Haas, the Ferrari, and put Kimi out of that team, because they need to shake up that team, because it's clearly that system of number 1 and number 2 drivers is not working. But talking of Charles Leclerc, let's go on to Sauber. Marcus Ericsson was having a good race up in 8th place, but then had a car problem and retired from the race. And for Charles Leclerc, good race, P7, the best I think he probably could have done with what he was given. If he didn't pit so early, maybe Leclerc would have finished in P6, but there you go. Good race by Charles Leclerc. And I have to say, for Sauber, great season, and hopefully they continue to progress in 2019 with Kimi Raikkonen and Antonio Giovinazzi. But guys, what do you think, or what did you think about Sauber in that race and overall for the season? What did you think? Right. Let me just look at the chat. Ronan Brady, I would keep Kimi because he is very good at developing a car. I think that's why he's gone to Sauber, to be honest, to develop that car. Australia came back to haunt Haas. Yes, it did. That kind of set the tone, kinda, for their season, in terms of great pace on a Saturday, disappointing on a Sunday. That's been the theme of Haas's season. Sebastian says Leclerc overtook Danny Rick and Kimi. He overtook Kimi because Kimi had a problem, so that doesn't really mean anything. But yeah, he got past Ricciardo. Good move at the start. I'm proud of Sauber, says Francisco. Dexter Hall says Sauber really surprised me. I'm not that surprised by Sauber. I think I said at the start of the season that by Spa or Monza, that's when you'll start to see the progression of the Sauber, and then from then to the end of the season, they should end on a high, and they have. So I'm not that surprised by Sauber. The biggest surprise for Sauber this season, I think, was the last race in Brazil to be at the front of the midfield. That was very surprising. Great year for Sauber, says Astro Stevo. JB, which driver transfer do you find the hardest to accept / realise? I guess Ocon not being on the grid. Yeah, I'd say Ocon not being on the grid and Lance Stroll's driving for Force India, which apparently, guys, is going to be announced tomorrow, if not tonight. So look out for that. But let's be honest, Lance Stroll is nowhere near Esteban Ocon. Ocon is way better than Stroll. Stroll does not deserve that seat. I don't think Stroll deserves to be in F1. Neither does Sorokin. And for me, neither does Brendan Hartley. But yeah, I'm so disappointed that Ocon is losing his seat. So disappointed. Because he's going to miss out on an important season. Every season for a driver in that midfield is important. Because if you miss a year, you could be damaging your career. But there's nothing he can do really about that. Ronan Brady, God help Force India with him next year. And I also agree with you about the lineups being weaker next year. They are weaker. Stroll at Force India, that's not an improvement. We'll have to see about Kubica. Who else? I don't think Gasly is an improvement on Ricciardo. And at McLaren, I think they are improving on Van Dorn with Norris, but I don't think they're obviously improving on Fernando Alonso with Carlos Sainz. So, yeah. But I think, guys, we are now going to end this race watch-along for the 2018 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. And I just want to say again, for these race watch-alongs and the qualifying watch-alongs and the race weekends in general, thank you guys for coming along to every single race weekend, supporting the channel, subscribing. Don't forget to do that if you have not already done that. Liking the videos, commenting, all of that. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for being a part of these watch-alongs. I know this weekend the viewership hasn't been as good as other races. Like the US Grand Prix, the Mexican Grand Prix, we had about 800 to 900 people watching live. Obviously, the interest in F1 has dropped, but thank you guys so much. It really does mean the world to me, and I cannot wait to get back to this mid-March in 2019 for the new season, and I know you guys are so excited for 2019, and don't worry, I am too, and I have plenty planned for next year in terms of new stuff with the content, and I will announce some of that stuff as we get closer to those certain dates and times. And by the way, just to let you guys know, I will be live tomorrow at 6 PM UK time for the final race review of 2018. I'm going to do a full review of the 2018 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, look at stats, quotes, just review every single driver and end the season there. And also, please come along to that race review and stay around, until the end, because I will be doing a channel update at the end of that stream, which is very important if you guys want to know what is coming up on this channel between December and the car launches in early February. So please stick around until the end of the race review tomorrow. But guys, again, thank you very much. If you haven't subscribed already, we do this for every race weekend in 2019, so don't forget to subscribe. On the bottom right of the screen, click on my channel name and go to my channel page and subscribe to the channel. Like this video, comment down below what you thought of this video and what did you think of the 2018 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix and the incidents within it. Also, don't forget to join our Discord server, link below in the description. Discord is the best way to get notifications for my videos, so make sure you get yourself in that server. We're almost up now to 100 people in that server. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Chaz6110 and check out my website, ChazerHD. mercedes-benz.com for more content on this channel. Before I go, I just want to read out some people's names saying thank you to me. So thanks to Astro Stevo, Dexter Hall, Jeffrey Guyot, JB, Will F1, Raghav Gupta, Ronan Brady. Everyone is watching now, and all of my subscribers, thank you very much. And JB says, can you do a season review of each driver? I won't be doing a season review of each driver, but I will be covering every team and driver, but in more, say, with like other drivers and teams. So don't worry, I will be doing season reviews. And also, if you want to find out what's coming up on the channel next week after the race review tomorrow, check out the end of my race review. But until 6 PM tomorrow for that video, it's been me, Chazza HD. Goodbye.